Now we are live. So, okay, I got Miss White, your phone was still on. I just turned it off. So now what we'll do is we'll give some people a few minutes to get in. But in the meantime, y'all just introduce yourselves to one another. I'm gonna start with Miss Baker. Miss Baker, introduce yourself. Tell them who you are. But you're gonna have to introduce yourself again to the audience. But I'm just saying so everybody on the panel is familiar with one another.
Thank you so much. I'm one of your sisters in northern New Jersey. I am a political operative, having worked in many states, but expertise in Pennsylvania, North Carolina. Currently, I am the chief of staff to the youngest ever elected senator in the state of New Jersey, who is a young sister who is 38. I was a legend in my son's junior high school class because I played the role of the first music video to get a Grammy Award. I played the mother in Method Man and Mary J. Blige, You're All I Need. The young people get a big kick out of that. It is a privilege and a pleasure to be with you this evening.
It's a privilege to have you this evening. But you haven't only worked in New Jersey area, have you? What other areas have you worked politically?
Well, I was senior field staff for the 2012 re-election campaign of President Obama. So I was the Get Out the Vote director in Pennsylvania.
Right.
I've run a few races in North Carolina, and then I worked in 12 other primary states, in addition to working for the administration on the issue of universal background checks 3 months after the tragedy at Sandy Hook in Connecticut. So I've worked on a few things, and then I come from labor. I was the senior state director for Pennsylvania for the AFL-CIO, which was no easy task. One, being a woman, and certainly being a sister. So I have a labor background, I have a national field background, but I'm most proud of the fact that my grandfather is one of the founders of the Brotherhood of Pullman Porters, Minor Coleman, and my mother and father iconic. My father was an iconic physician, and we've been holding it down here in New Jersey, but I've had the privilege to travel. But I'm back now, based out of New Jersey, serving as the chief of staff for this young sister who is a state senator, the youngest in the history of the state of New Jersey.
Okay, okay. So let me. I just want to not. I don't want to turn this into this, but I just want to ask you a question as a political consultant on campaigns as well. And I know a lot of times on gubernatorial campaigns and presidential campaigns, a lot of times they try to get you to go and work in other areas. I've experienced that. Unfortunately, I have never been willing because I've always felt like Miami is my stronghold. That's what I know. And what I also notice is a lot of times when they send individuals into other states, and I know my representative Benjamin, he's on the line and he can testify to this. A lot of times it really hurts the presidential and the gubernatorial candidate because most times people feel that they have their own set of consultants. Like we have hundreds of consultants here in Miami-Dade County. We have hundreds of political advisors here in Miami-Dade County. But then what happens, and I can use my former governor, who I was blessed to be an advisor to him, which was Andrew Gillum. I remember doing the primaries. We ran an awesome race. But then when we got to the general, Washington came in who was not familiar with Florida and definitely Miami, which is a different beast altogether when it comes to getting elected across the state of Florida. It's a different beast. And because of the direction that he went in, people really, I mean, from the ground forgot that he was even running because the people that they sent in was not able to connect with the voters that we connected with in the primary. So when I go to other states, like I have been to other states and I go to other counties when I'm doing gubernatorial races, one of the things I always ask is, let me find a Tangela Sears in this state. That's one of the first things I
Oh
look
yeah,
for. And when I find
yeah.
that person, I encourage them to bring that person on board to do the things that I will continue to do in Miami, because Miami is the city that I know. So have you ever ran into any of those problems?
Well, see, I approached this completely differently because I had the privilege, like my pastor was very involved with National Baptist. He was the chairman, or I guess the president of Lot Carey. So before I go into any states, I do my research to make sure that, first of all, that I'm worshiping in the right place. Like the way Maryland connected us, I make sure that I'm connected, because there's nothing worse than Washington sending people who have no idea, no respect, and no idea of the culture where you're going. So I've been
Exactly.
able to be very effective because I have relationships with folks so that I can make sure that I'm just bringing my expertise to the table. I'm not trying to
Correct.
come in and take over. And I make sure that I'm real strong with my faith based leaders in terms of meeting their congregations. And then as soon as I get there, I'm going to community meetings, and I'm definitely hooking up. I already hooked up with the Tangela before my flight even landed, because I want to make sure that I'm always respectful, and that's how I teach, because I'm trying to build a bench right now. I'm getting ready to retire. I'm 66 years old, and it was never my intention like to do this forever. So I make sure that the number one thing that I teach is the respect for the environment in which we're coming into, because we can't do anything without that. And I can't live with myself without that. And it's never going to work. That's why it doesn't work, because you think people come in from DC, and it hurts my soul. I mean, it hurts my soul when brothers and sisters come in with those attitudes that unfamiliar faces may give us and we complain about. It is just devastating to me. So I try to teach the very best I can in terms of when I mentor and when I actually teach how to go get this. I make sure that all of that is done before my plane lands.
I think you hit it when you said that you taking your expertise, and that's what I want to be able to offer people, taking in our expertise, right? Not taking over, but using our expertise and encouraging them to bring people on board from various states to do the things that we know what to do and how to do. And sometimes that comes with, a lot of times, training individuals to do some of these things that we're doing. So I think you hit it on the head. But that's not our subject tonight. That's not what we want to talk about. But when you brought it up, as a political consultant here in Florida, it just always hit us a lot of times. I mean, even my sister called me last week from New Jersey. I'll be in Florida soon because I'm working the election. And the first thing I said was, for what? But and it's good for us to mix and mingle, but we can't, I can't allow. And I happen to be on a lot of gubernatorial and presidential elections, but I just always want these people to know that we have so many other consultants that's strong, that win ground races here in Florida, whether it be a state rep, a commissioner, a judicial race, the congressional race. We have so many people on the ground that gets left out a lot of times. But
No,
nevertheless, what I want to do now, because I want to ask a question before we get into the voting thing. Of course, my first question is going to deal with President Trump. Yeah, I'm going to discuss the situation just a few minutes about President Trump. I know that's what a lot of people last night was waiting for me to come on and make some statements, but because of the people that I represent, it's always important that I get my facts on things before I just come out and speak on things. I mean, because if I would have came out last night, it would have been my emotions. But now I have better information, even though I still feel what I feel, and it is what it is still, but I still wanted to get information. But Ms. White, I want you to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do. I want Attorney Benjamin to introduce himself, who he is, what he does, and I'm chosen, and then we'll be able to start our conversation.
First off, I want to say thank you for having me up, Tangela. I am Miss White. I want to greet our Chat and Chew family, say thank you to you all for coming in and fellow panelists as well. Again, I am Miss White. It was a privilege that Miss Tangela asked me to do this, and it was, I now know, not by happenstance that she and I met, because I had no idea that she was a political consultant whatsoever. I work heavy in my community, and I began to, through my church at the time, donate time towards the voting cause. And from there, I became an employee for the Board of Elections. So um, that's just a little bit it. I have other employment that I do for myself, because, as you know, my hands are just busy with the Board of Elections during certain times of the year. But yeah.
Attorney Benjamin. I laugh because he's my personal attorney. He's my church, not my church attorney, but a church that I work with. He represents them, and he represents anybody that I call him to represent. He does a lot of pro bono work. But a couple of years ago, Chris decided that he wanted to be a state representative. So he ran for state representative, and now he's our state representative. But now he's running for judge. And it's so unfortunate now because I'll be able to get him to answer some questions, but I run different races throughout the nation, whether it's the presidential, whether it's the governor, whether it's the state rep, the state attorney's race, state reps, judicials. Judicials are my most dirtiest races. However, judicial races can't answer all the questions that others can answer. So he probably won't be able to tune in as I talk about his president. I don't know what he will or will not be able to say. I don't know because they've been saying things, but again, when you're running for judge, a lot of times it's somewhat different. But Chris, there is some topics that we're going to discuss. I'm going to need your education on, but I just want you to introduce yourself, tell them who you are. He was a magistrate. I got in an accident a few months ago. I had to go before a magistrate. You was no longer on the bench because you're a state representative. But I still end up with my friend Mark. It's over, it's done, it's closed, so I can talk about it now. But just introduce to the people who you are.
Well, good evening, and Tangela, thank you for having me. I'm Christopher Benjamin. As you said, I am an attorney here in Miami-Dade County. I've been representing clients in the area of general legislation for about 22 years. I'm also a certified arbitrator and mediator, and
Could you come closer to your mic?
I'm also, as Angela said, a state representative representing District 107 in the Florida House of Representatives. And I'm currently now ending my second term and running for county court judge here in Miami County.
I'm chosen. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me, sister. I'd like to introduce myself with my YouTube name, which is Unchosen. I share a channel with Mrs. White called Chat and Chew, and we are just trying to build a community. At the present time, I'm just a full-time servant. When I say servant, I mean trying to be an extension of God's hand, which is to be there for humanity in any way that I can support someone. So I'm basically here to kind of keep you guys in line because I know these topics, when we're talking political, it can get pretty intense at times, sharing views. So that's what I'm on the panel with you guys for, as well as to learn. I don't know a lot about, politics other than you go vote and what your parents teach you. But I'm here to really learn a lot more. And so far, Mrs. White and Tangela have been teaching me along the way. So that's pretty much my details of myself. Nice to meet you all.
Well, Attorney Benjamin, I'm so glad to have you up here. I've been on a panel with Miss White before. We've talked about the importance of voting. And there's a lot of issues that we're dealing with now centering around voting. But before I go there, I want to say, because I've gotten hundreds and thousands of messages, what do you stand on what happened last night? What do you think about what happened last night? I personally, Tangela Sears, think it was a setup gone bad.
Well, I'll say this, that violence is never a way to handle political differences in our current democracy. It is actually a threat to democracy and the rule of law. And we have to uh, condemn it whenever we see it. And to the extent that this was an act of violence against the former president of the United States, I strongly condemn the attack last night.
Anybody want to get their opinion on the attack last night?
Well, I'd like to say that, well, first of all, I've worked in Butler, Pennsylvania. And so the atmosphere in Butler, Pennsylvania, like a lot of people refer to some towns as sundown towns. That's like a daytime and a sundown town. That's just the environment in which it took place. And I commented to someone, oh, look, he's having a rally in Butler. And we talked about my experience of working in Butler and my experience with the state rep. Having served on national field campaigns, I don't understand how those buildings were not covered. So all of my young people said to me, they said, Mrs. Tino, what do you think? You think that was like a setup for something? And, I'm not a conspiracy theory person. I abhor violence. I'm not with political violence. Our culture has suffered great violence trying to get our civil rights. And I don't believe that people understand that kind of violence, what we have been through. So, no, I am no proponent of violence, but it seemed awfully peculiar to me that someone with no digital print, 20 years old, had the maybe not right mind, and maybe there was mental illness involved, that you could dress yourself like the top of a building that's on the premises of where a presidential candidate's rally is, and there are no snipers and no coverage on those other buildings. I find that to not just be odd, but I also find it to be quite peculiar.
I say I think it was a Lillian German. She works out at the White House. She says she'll be up in 3 minutes. Look forward to having her. And Attorney Benjamin, I just want to say this to you. I kept that up. Hello, Tangela. Love you, sis. One of your constituents. Never know who you're gonna see. Um, One of the things we want to talk about. So that's what I think we all basically have come to that conclusion. This is not the first time we have experienced this type of behavior under this type of leadership. So, all I say to the voters is prepare yourself. If this is what you want, then this is what you're going to have. And violence is just not the way. It's just not the way. It's never happened before. But this is the mindset of this leader. And so they was, and when I say set up gone wrong, I say that because I think it was all set up and staged, but I don't think he was supposed to get hit in the ear. And I still don't know was the right person shot or killed, but there was someone that I personally feel that they was after. I just don't know who. I'm not a part of that camp. I wouldn't want to be a part of that camp. Um, I can go be a part of that camp though, Attorney Benjamin. I probably never have to work a day in my life, but I never sell my community out like that. Never ever in my life. But one of the things we wanna get on topic and we wanna talk about is the importance of voting. When we talk about voting, the only thing we talk about is the presidential election. That's it. And even as a political consultant and working campaigns, when I look at the stats, most of the people that vote, the largest number is during the presidential election. I think me and Ms. White, we had a talk today because we want to talk to you not so much about, well, never about who to vote for. That's your business who you vote for. But we want you to know what you're up against. We want you to know what you're facing. We want you to be educated on what's going to happen with public education, what's going to happen with public housing. You think rent is out of control now. What's going to happen with that? Jobs, what's going to happen with that? Will salaries decrease? Will we begin to lose more jobs? Will it be even tougher for Black men? And that's something I worry about more than anything when it comes to Black men, because unfortunately, Attorney Benjamin, most of the people that I hear in support of Trump is Black men. Do you have any reason why?
You said the most people you hear voting for Trump are black men.
Yeah, even like on this channel right here, there's nights. My little sweetie pies, they some of them here, some probably come in. Um, they strong when it comes to Trump. They are strong when it comes to him. I don't know if people think they're going to get a stimulus check again. And even if they was to ever get a stimulus check, I don't think they understand the president don't make that decision. The only thing the president mandated during that time was his signature be on the check. That's it. He didn't make that decision. Congress made that decision. And it's important that people know these things. When I hear people saying that I'm not gonna vote for Biden because he's old, he's just out of it. Let me just say this to you. All I need a president to do is sign. What's most important is you go out there and you vote more Democrats in office. You vote more Democrats into the U.S. Senate so that no matter who the president is, we're able to get something done. Well, not no matter who the president is. I want to move that because a Republican president will veto. We wonder why we don't have things in our neighborhoods. It's because we don't. And I'm gonna let somebody else have it from there.
If I could, Tangela, I just wanted to come in on what you were saying, because what I find with voting is when you hear a lot of our African American people say that they want to vote for Trump, they look at his business life. They look at him as a symbol of success. For one, for two, they say I've had my own daughter say I got the most money back that I've ever gotten back on my taxes while Trump was in office. And again, you hear people iterating, especially in the impoverished neighborhoods, about the stimulus check. Like, again, they think that that's some money that Trump said, hey, let's give them this, not understanding. And if I ask a 30-year-old, well, what did Obama give you in 2009? Some are not old enough to even know. You say a stimulus check, and then you ask them, what is a stimulus check? and they don't even know. And when you have to say, it's stimulate, it's to stimulate the economy. We were at the verge of the country coming to a standstill. So the mom and pop shops, they hurt, it trickles downhill, and they had to put something into place. So what I'm saying and getting at is the lack of knowledge. Like our African American people, we suffer. The book of Hosea 4 tells us that we're doomed for the lack of understanding, and a lot of people just simply do not know. My goal that I look forward to is teaching people about all the elections and not just the presidential election. They don't understand that it's the small elections that make the big ones count. It's the small elections when they say my vote don't count. Your vote don't just count to go towards who's going to win or who's not going to win, but look in your neighborhood, okay? Why your street is not paved because you're not registered to vote. They probably barely know you exist. I mean, they know you exist, but these are how you get things done. Even if just signing up on the registration. A lot of people, they just don't understand it. They cannot tell you the difference between a primary election and a general election. Like they don't know, they don't get it, and all they know is the presidency, not understanding that the president don't run the country. Like they don't get it, they don't understand. I was so impressed. I do not watch the BET Awards, but for whatever reason, I turned it on a couple of weeks ago, and I heard, I think his name was Big Mike, and he won an award. And when he came up, he challenged the people. He said, "Who is your commissioner?" I was so impressed. I was so impressed because I challenged, even on our channel, I asked the people, I said, "You need to know who your precinct leader is. Like, go to a community meeting, learn the resources that are available for you." Because, like Tangela said, if you vote Republican or Democrat, whichever way you go, just vote. But just know that when Republicans are in office, they use everything available to them. They use every resource available to them. As Democrats, we don't. And mostly because they don't even know what's available for them. So I yield.
So I think it's fair to say that especially some of the elders that used to lead the way, I think it's fair to say that we fell asleep on our watch. I think it's very fair to say, I'm sure that the attorney can attest to the fact that when he's at the State House, he would like more help, more colleagues that would be able to vote for certain priorities and things that they're doing. I think it's safe to say that unfortunately, as a partisan Democrat, sometimes the communication skills are not done for people to understand the Republicans did not want to give people the $600, more or less the $2,400. So if we don't do a good thing messaging, and I always say this, if a person is constantly lying, but they lie and they stay on message with their lies, people begin to think, well, I think I heard that on so-and-so channel. I heard my friends talking about this. They think it's the truth. And the problem with falling asleep on your watch, you wake up, and while you're awake, you're having nightmares. And for me, when we look in just real quick at this violence thing, this is not new. I mean, this particular candidate said, beat them down. We'll pay your bail. Do this, do that. You've got pictures of folks that are being used as memes, as target practice, and we're not talking about that. When I explained to my folks at my home church here in New Jersey, they said, "Mrs. Stina, the bulldozers were down on my block." Well, I have to tell Miss Fanny and them, I can't do anything when the bulldozers are there because we should have been at the planning board meeting. Uh-huh. So I think that if we do a resurgence, and so that we can continue to build these benches with these younger generations, with Generation Z, with the millennials, everybody here, I know on this channel right now, make themselves available And if we have to go little room by little room, explaining what this is, what that is, how does that affect your economic line? How does it affect the seniors in your neighborhood who are no longer getting the meals on wheels that they were getting in previous years? I think that if we commit ourselves, and I'll be the first one to say, because I already know what kind of panel I'm sitting on, that I'll be available anytime, any place, because they say if there are two or more gathered in my name, we make something happen.
I think one of the biggest issues that confronts us today, especially with the advent of social media, is that there's a host of misinformation. We talk about a stimulus check, and this is not partisan whatsoever.
Closer to the mic, my
This
Chris.
this isn't partisan whatsoever, but there's so much misinformation. We talk about an economy. We talk about what that economy was doing during different presidencies. We talk about a stimulus check without talking about why a stimulus check was needed. We talk about a stimulus check and whose signature was on the stimulus check without talking about who has the authority to actually write the check. We talk about um, it being money given to us when in fact it was an advance on your tax credits. It wasn't free money, and it was one of the reasons why when you had an opportunity to say whether you wanted one or not, I said no. It's just an advance on your tax credits, and so we have to be more informed. And in an age where we have information at our fingertips, I find our community oftentimes to be woefully uninformed. For instance, I was surprised in running for county court judge how many folks didn't know that judges were elected in August during the primaries. How many attorneys didn't know or don't know that judges are elected in August during the primaries? You know, we I was surprised to know that there are some districts in our state that don't teach civics anymore. We had to have legislation that actually now mandates that civics be taught in all 67 counties. I mean, we are in an era where we have information at our fingertips, but we have algorithms that only tell us what we want to hear. And that I think that does a disservice to our community. And I think we have to start being more vocal in disseminating true information.
Okay, before we go on, I have a special, special guest that just joined us. Um, she works throughout the White House. She's worked for everybody in the White House. She's worked for judges. She's ran campaigns even down here in Florida. Um, we met as teens actually. Um, under our mentor, with Chris' mentor, my mentor, her mentor, Carrie P. Meek. You Google that name, you'll learn so much about what she did. And a lot of us are who we are today because of her. Um, but Lillian, I just want to give you an opportunity. So it's so funny when Lillian tell the story as to why did Congresswoman want us to meet? Your mic is off. I can't hear you. Let me turn this one down and see. Okay. I can't hear you.
Ask her to look down and make sure her mic is not on mute.
Make sure your microphone, because it's not on mute on this end. Make sure your microphone is not on mute. It's not on mute. It's not on mute. Turn your ring thing up. Turn your volume up. Make sure your volume is up. All of that is up. You need DT.
Is she on a Bluetooth?
Are you on a Bluetooth?
She may have to drop down and come back up and make sure her connections are together.
Drop down and come back up. Drop down and come back up.
While we're
Okay.
waiting on her to come up, Miss Tangela, I just wanted to say before it slipped my mind that Mr. Benjamin was so right. Like so many people do not know that judges are elected, and just this past from the primary from the last presidential election that there was 12 million votes short. It was 12 million different people that didn't vote. So we know that they're capable of voting and they know and they're registered. They voted for the president and then they didn't come back.
Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely.
So
Go in and do
I love
something
what you
too.
just said. So everybody, I am so sorry.
So
You
let me
know,
ask you a question. Why
I'm
did
older than I'm so old that like I prepared President Lincoln to get ready for the theater that night. Okay, that's how old I am. So yes, I have worked many campaigns. I used to be white back then. So and that's why I still have like the blonde hair. Um, so it's so good to be with you, Tangela, and with anybody you call friend. I mean,
Lillian,
that's like a
Lillian,
small subset, very
hey
very
Lillian,
small.
Lillian, why did
Yes.
Congresswoman say we had to meet? She brought you here.
So yeah, so Congresswoman Carrie Meek, who I had known because I had been a chief of staff for a number of members of Congress, including Congressman Alcee Hastings, the beloved Florida, first black federal judge in Florida, impeached and then kicked ass and got elected to the same body that had impeached him. So that's how I met Congresswoman Meek, and she called me up one day. She had been sort of designated as the ground person for the gubernatorial candidate who was going to beat Jeb Bush. We didn't win, but she said, I need you to get to DC, get to Florida. So I drove my little car 20 hours from DC to Miami. And next day she goes, okay, you got to meet my person on the ground, Tangela Sears. Let me get Tangela over here. She gets Tangela over to the house. And when you are in the Carrie P. Meek universe, you're in. Like, I don't know what you knew before, but you about to learn. And fortunately for me, Tangela had already learned. I was new to the family and I never left the family. I'm so grateful to be a part of this family. I have campaigned all over. I am now a federal lobbyist. That's what I do to make a living. But I spent 19 years on Capitol Hill working for members of Congress. And now I lobby the administration. I've lobbied, three different administrations in Congress. And I can tell you, we talk about the presidential campaign. Okay, that's great. That's great. That's November. But really what matters, in addition to the presidential, is all of those congressional races that are up. And every House seat is up, as you know. Every 2 years, the House is up 435 members. And of the 100 senators, I think 53 are up. And we've got about 15 frontline seats. I say we. I'm speaking as Democrat, but I can speak as a nonpartisan partisan as well. But you know and that's what, like, so you elect a president. That's great. A president cannot initiate laws, right? He cannot initiate legislation. He can send you his package, but he can't get anything through without Congress. So the Democrats are close to having the first black speaker of the House of Representatives in Hakeem Jeffries. That will not happen. That will not happen if we don't turn out the votes. And I want to share something with you that was I found very interesting. About 2 weeks ago, I traveled to California with the House Equality Caucus. And so that's all of the members of Congress who identify as LGBTQ and members of Congress who are their allies. So there were about 30 Democratic members of Congress. And you know what the chair the chair is an Asian American. The co-chair is an African American Latino. And what they said to me was, we're talking about the Hispanic vote, the Latino vote. I live mostly in Texas, so that's important to me. And they said, you know what? We don't need to register anybody else. We don't need to register people. We need to focus on the voters that we already have. And I want to go back to something that my esteemed queen from New Jersey mentioned. She was talking about the young people. I'm glad that you're not giving up on the young people, but for me, I'm done. I'm done because I know in 1988 I was the youngest national delegate for Jesse Jackson. I was 26 years old. I mean, how young is that? That's not really young. None of my friends, my sorority sisters, people I hung out with the church, none of my friends would attend events with me. I was walking the street. I got my car was repossessed, Tangela, and I got on the bus to register people to vote. And I walked, door to door, and I walked to, radio stations trying to get some money to go on the air. So I don't think there's ever really been a time, and you can, challenge me on this. Tell me that I'm wrong. I don't think there's ever been a time when young people, the 18 to 35 to 40-year-old, has really, really been, heavily involved outside of those, those urgent areas where you see, the members of SNCC back in the 60s. You see the John Lewis, you see the Eleanor Holmes Norton, you see those people. Those were some finite times. I don't think they're really, really coming to the table. And I don't want to lose everybody else that we can get to the table. So I want to focus on the seniors. I want to focus on, middle-aged people like ourselves, people who understand that everything is at stake, everything. And we got to go back to the ground. I never give up on the ground game. I just won an election in Houston. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee was up for re-election. She had a tough primary opponent that she should never have
Congratulations.
had.
I
I'm
saw it.
sorry? Thank
Congratulations.
you.
I saw it.
Thank you. Thank you. We were not going out like that, but it was really a ground game. And I'm telling you, even in 2024, when you want to go to TV, you want to go to radio, social media is great. And we had an outstanding young Latino gentleman doing our social media. He's about 35. That was very helpful. But that ground game, making those calls, knocking on doors, going to churches. Yes, you still got to go to churches. Even though the pastor doesn't want you in there, you still got to push your way up in there. Am I right, Tangela? Have we given up on the churches?
Mm-mm.
I have not given up on the churches, but I do have another strategy, and I'll talk to you about that.
Okay. I think
I
I've
mean,
talked enough, y'all.
I have to have two and three strategies now because we have different generations and they are totally different and they think different. So you have to have different plans.
Well, y'all get those. I'm gonna stick with my seniors, my middle-aged folk, people who don't, who understand
You
FICA
got the
and
easy part. You got the easy part because
okay. I'll take
all
the
you
easy
got to
part.
do is pull your senior stats. They going to vote anyway.
Oh, they go. They're definitely.
She's saying
In 2012, what continues to inspire me
The echo on here. Do
is,
somebody have a YouTube going or?
I think if we mute, we're good. Now we're good.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
in 2012, we set out to register 500,000 new voters in Pennsylvania. And we ended up registering 1.75 million, but we didn't just let them go. So our ground game program is we had activities leading up to, because if you've never voted and I register you, what make me think that you're going to show up at the polls? And I think we've gotten away up to a certain extent because I commented to some people, there's a whole lot of people not looking at ads on anybody's Facebook or doing other things. You're taking things for granted. So I haven't walked away from them totally. It's just that I saw what we did in Pennsylvania in 2012 when we did a whole commit to vote card. We had a commit to vote program. We just took it to another level. But to be quite frank with you, my dear sister Lillian, you're absolutely right. I had a conversation this morning that we need to turn the bass out. We need to pump up the volume. We need to spend money.
Okay, my question is Baker. So I want to ask this question.
Of course.
Listen, and Lillian knows this. Christopher knows this because they've done elections with me. I deal with the reality. The base is not there. The young people are not there. The middle class, they're mixed up. Business owners, because this man is a businessman. They feel, I mean, I have friends that's cooks, that's chefs. but they felt that they taxes, everything was the thing is, what is it that we are going to do? What is it that we're going to do? Remember, they continue to say that, and I'm just going to deal with reality. Maybe I'll play devil advocate. I'm tired of hearing the same thing over and over and over and over again. I love my Democrats. I'm a strong Democrat. I work for Democrats. But the truth is, at the top, that party, them people don't look like us. Come on, Lillian, I'm keeping it
No,
real.
you
They don't look
they
like
don't
us.
look
And
like
what
us.
they
And
do
what they
is
do
they
is they
continue to send
continue
these
to send these
candidates. They
candidates.
continue
They
to send these
continue to send these
candidates. All you
candidates. All you
do,
got to do,
because I
because
go
I
way
go
back in
way
this.
back in this.
Well, can I ask a question?
Go to
Is
the church.
anybody
Go to the
is
church. And the truth
anybody
is, let's deal with reality. Since COVID, ain't nobody into the church. I ran an election 4 years ago. Alex Panelist against Mayor Daniela Cropper. Alex Panellis had been a mayor before, one of the best mayors that we ever had in the history of having a mayor. Everybody in this county endorsed this man, okay? I got tricked. I was hurt. I was in bed for 2 weeks. Every pastor endorsed him. Somebody came on his Facebook page one day and said, so the church against the community. Dealing with a different generation. There's a division here. And we're going to have to understand this as we strategize. And you know what? The church didn't win. I'm shocked. Didn't even make it to the runoff. Now, you know I cried on that one. We didn't even make it to the runoff. Nobody about this. But we only focus on faith-based only. We got to understand there's a generation that's not engaged with faith-based, but we still need them to vote.
Tangela, why is it you and I assume nobody on this call is a member of the DNC Black Caucus, is a leader on the DNC Black Caucus, so that you're at the top. You are not, well, you won't be at the top, but like you said, but if you're a member of the DNC Black Caucus, or you're, chair, co-chair, because frankly, the person who's been chair for 20 years, I mean, really 20 years, but that's where people are making the decisions, or people are telling the party where to send the money, where to send the resources, the messaging. So we need people who, I mean, clearly they look like us, okay, but they apparently don't think like us. And there are people who've been on that for too doggone long. The
See,
same people.
and
White
you know
people
what?
love to deal with the same black
But
people.
Lillian, let me tell you why. When I go to a corner store, these guys see me all the time. Because I'm not ever leaving my community. I'm that carry me. I'm not going nowhere. Okay? They see me in the community. When they have a problem, they come to me with their problems. I help them resolve their problems. They see me on TV. You speaking for us. The problem is they don't see nobody else until it's election time.
Absolutely.
See, that's the thing. Our party have put people in a position where they don't trust them. They don't trust them. They just think it's regular politics, old school, kiss the baby, hug the mama. And unfortunately, people are more knowledgeable today than
But
they
how do we
were
get people
before.
to, how do we say to people, look, do it because I said do it, so that I'll be in a position
But we
to
in a
help
worse
you?
position right now, Lillian, because the problem now is they're hiring a lot of these young people that's caught up into social media. Lillian, we've been running elections for years. Ms. Baker, you've been running elections for years. Ms. White, you know about elections.
Hold
You
on, hold
run
on,
the
hold on, just
elections
a
on no
second. Let
social
me
media.
interject. Hold on, Tangela. If anyone has multiple devices, please mute the one that you're not communicating through. Um, there's an echo, and Tangela is mostly echoing when you speak. So check your devices and make sure everything is muted
I don't have
other
nothing
than
on.
in. Okay, so I just want to let you know that it's got a really bad echo. Now I don't hear your echo. When you said that, the echo went away.
So
Okay.
Tangela, so here's the thing. So we have to, when you asked me
Sorry, I don't
earlier
understand.
about people coming in from out of state, the thing that I try to bring to the table is I try to force up upon them, because you and I both know this. When DC comes through, they want us to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, sign the papers, serve
Gotta
it,
put
and
it in.
not the kind of money that we really need to make a difference. And we have to press up on them. So I'm all in. Whatever it is that you need from me, I'm saying
We
right now,
have
on your
to,
channel, I'm in.
this is the thing. I get very angry with some of even those that I represent. Johnny Overmitter may say, I like Trump. Don't get mad at Johnny. Johnny, don't call Johnny crazy. Don't call Johnny stupid. Educate Johnny. Johnny don't know. Johnny only know the things he's heard. But what we do is we get angry. Oh, they stupid. Oh, they this. And then we wonder why they don't turn out to vote.
But we
Good
got to
point.
meet
Because
them
we
where
don't
they
take time
are.
to try to educate them. And we cannot just continue. We cannot connect with these people just during election time.
No, we have to meet them where they are all year round.
But they
Right?
don't see nobody all year round.
Well, that's
Well,
what we
Now,
need to change in our
people may
community.
have an issue with my state attorney, but the reason they see her all year round because I demand that of those that I work with. But that don't come from everybody because I don't represent everybody. But those that I do, I'm proud of where they at. I'm proud of how the community received them because they are different.
Tangela and I spoke this morning, not as extensively as I would have liked to, but Miss Baker and Miss Lillian, my thought about some of this was, I think I heard Miss Lillian say they don't teach civics in school anymore. Um, that
That
happens when
wasn't
we
me,
don't.
but it's true.
Yeah, whoever it was, like that happens when we don't vote in these small elections, and we have 4 months to dig some people up out the mud. When I say us, I mean our people out of the mud to educate. They don't do because they don't know. They don't understand. If you ask them right now, what is the 2025 plan? They have no clue what you're even talking about. So I said to
Heard
Tangela
of
this
it.
morning that I found it so coincidental that as soon as we started to learn, when I say we, I'm speaking about our people, because I started asking, what did you know about the 2025 plan? Because it was quiet. These things were slipping through the cracks. Nobody knew, right? So it became more vocalized. We started to hear it more. 3 days ago, our previous now running again president that I call 45 says he didn't know who plan it was, that he didn't even know where it came from. But as long as it was sliding, riding, gliding right along under the cracks, under everybody's eyes, he was okay with it. Y'all, this just happened just a couple of days ago. Okay? Did we notice that he denounced the 2025 plan? He said he didn't know who came up with it. But the facts are that we don't even know what's in that plan, our people. He said, I don't know who came up with this plan. Like he don't want no parts of it because of the things that are in that plan. And as long as he thought we didn't know, we don't need to say anything about it.
But can I
Right?
say this? Can I say this? That's what
Yes, ma'am.
so you know, I really believe that Donald Trump had
Is
no
that you
clue, has
talking,
no clue.
Lillian?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
I hear you.
Okay. I don't
Now
think he had a
Lillian from
clue.
the White House, so I gotta make sure she ain't got nothing to do with that stuff either.
Listen, there are the Heritage Foundation is a think tank. We have many Democratic
Exactly.
think tanks. We have Center for
Exactly.
American Progress, for example. And so
Right.
these think tanks are they all have their 2025 plans. But the Heritage Foundation was like, oh, we're fixing to just jump it. We're taking it to a whole different level. And I
Mhm.
think our problem with 2025 is we're not really doing the messaging right. Because, I mean, some of the stuff on there is like, well, we know that's dumb. That's not going to happen. But there's stuff on there that can happen. And here's the thing, people at the Heritage Foundation will be empowered if a Donald Trump gets elected. And so these kinds of policies, every policy has to be voted on by Congress. So,
Mhm.
but the fact that these are the people, this is the plan a Republican Congress will be relying on. So I think we did, thank God for Taraji P. Henson. She brought it up, but she
She
didn't,
did.
I mean, I don't know that
I'm
beyond that.
praying. I'm praying we can turn that and get a
But it
Democrat
takes
Congress. Because if we don't get a Democrat Congress, what's going to happen is that man going to set up when things don't go his way, and it's going to be another episode like January 6th, like last night. It's going to be another episode because he is responsible for these episodes.
did we
But if
notice
we
the
don't
shift in the
educate,
poll numbers the
Huh?
past 2 days? Do we
The
know
poll
about the shift in
numbers.
the
So
poll
let me
numbers?
just to y'all with the poll numbers. The poll numbers was even the day before this incident.
Yes, ma'am. They
They
went
were
even.
even.
And the
And we
next
had not
day,
been even like that in months. Okay, we haven't been even like that, period.
at
But we
all.
was even. Then all of a sudden last night, this
We
incident occurred. And I don't understand America because it took his numbers back up.
yes.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm not relying too much.
on the polls,
I
but
mean,
just
I
in
can get a
I
handful
don't
of
rely,
elected off
but
of it.
there are
What I'm
certain
saying is,
posters.
for
Miss
Project
Parker,
20,
I don't rely on it, but there are certain posters. Somehow they always come out, but I ain't talking about those posters that they pay to give them a poster. I'm talking about independent posters.
but we
Because if
know
I pay you to go get
yeah,
a poll for me, you gonna give me what I want. So some of them, look, that's just like, listen, with that Alex Pinellas, they told me the polls kept saying he in third place. You couldn't tell me that man wasn't in no third place, but the
well, we
man
know
was
we
in
can't
third
rely on
place.
the polls because if that was so, we wouldn't have the president that we have
no,
today.
and it's
Right,
So
not
we
just
right,
that. It's just that
right.
we have to figure out a way in the community. I got some young pastors that are like 30s and their 40s, and I've been doing their Zooms to explain Agenda 47 and Project 2025. And
Mhm.
if we are not
So, Miss
educating every,
Parker,
wait a minute, wait a minute,
Miss Parker,
every
in
time,
so many words, Miss Parker, in so many words, because we've been talking about this program 2025. There may be people on here don't even know what we're talking about. So,
okay,
give
so
them an
let's,
example of what
yeah,
program
so
2025
let's
is.
break it down. So I explain to the children, and especially like also using your state sometimes as an example, I have to explain to the children I'm old enough to have been around where there was no African American curriculum, and our parents had to fight to have that. But we've got generations of people who grew up with birth control, who grew up with access to women's health care, who grew up with things. I'm old enough to remember someone who died from a back alley abortion.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
Project 2025, just some basic things, and I'd be happy to share a one page with anybody because it's a 912-page document that the Heritage Foundation came up with, which I just started reading. And when I got to page 103, if you go to public school, you're going to have to register for the draft. But if you go to a Christian or a parochial school, you don't have to register because you're not using public funds. The dismantling of the Department of Education, the dismantling of other departments that directly affect Black people. This is not a pie in the sky. I think Sister Tangela talked earlier when she talked about what's going to happen with housing. This document is a 912-page document brought to you by the people that brought you the last three, that's three Supreme Court justices that we got. They came off of the Heritage Foundation list. So if you things that you take for granted. And I'm still hard pressed, maybe because I'm from the Northeast. I'm hard pressed. Donald Trump is no businessman. I mean, like, it has nothing to do with me being a partisan. This man is not a successful, this man doesn't pay people. This man, he and his father made a living out of making sure that Black people did not rent any of their apartments. And they were so dastardly that they said, you know what? We go ahead and pay the fine. We still not letting you stay in our apartments. And that's just the tip of an iceberg. But when we talk about Project 2025, when they kept talking about the debate, I needed them to talk about Agenda 47, which is a condensed version of the 913 pages of Project 2025, and some of the things that they want to dismantle. Like, first of all, they would make no-fault divorce illegal. They would make sure that a woman would never have autonomy over her body. Now, when I talk to my college kids, my high school kids, they so used to access to things, they have no idea that this could be easily taken away. And if we do not take our time in all of those amazing communities that Tangela and Miss White and the other people represent, if we do not take our time to convene groups to explain to them what this is, shame on us.
Now, Ms. Beck, I want to ask you a question because, because of the ignorant part of it, the not knowing, I thought that instead of us trying to explain to them the rescheduling of Schedule Fs, like, they're just not going to get it. They're too far away from it. I wanted to come up with the A to Z list, literally from A to Z, and show everyone, not everyone, but the people that you come across, how, like, these elections affect their life on an A to Z level, things that are tangible to them, things that they can know and understand, because they're not going to understand that. When you say, voting in these elections affect something as simple as the airports for A, all the way down to the zoo for Z. And, and in between there, people don't know that it affects their taxes, their roads, just the things that they can equate their everyday life to. And because sometimes the best help you can get is the help that you don't know you need. So when we can give them a list of things that they apply to their everyday life that they don't even know, it affects it. And maybe steer them away from just the presidency as a whole, to show them how it affects their everyday life from the time they walk out of their house in the morning and get into their vehicle, driving to the workplace, coming back home, stopping at the grocery store, traveling, things that they do, and show them, let's find that find it in the alphabet, how this affects you. You know what I'm saying? Because
you want to hear it? Here it go. I used to tell my son the football players when my son was in high school. Mm-hmm. You know how the police run up on y'all when you don't have your football jackets on? Because you're not at the top of the town when you don't have your football jackets on. Well, the police chief is appointed by the mayor. The mayor is somebody that we vote for. What? Word? Yeah, word. You know how when so-and-so happens, that's how we break it down. And I'm telling y'all, you got it all with this sister Tangela and with you, Miss White. Anything that I can do so that we can break it down. Because when I used to tell my son and his friends, you don't like it when the police roll up on you all and you're all coming from the basketball game because it's not football season. And when I broke it down, because they're king of the hill with their football jackets on. This town that I live in shuts everything down for high school football, but then they forget who those boys are when it's basketball.
When they off the field, shut up and play, shut up and dribble.
When you break it down for a young person and say, you know how they rolled up on you and them last week, and they like, yeah, they rolled up on us. Well, you know who hires him, right? And they like, nah. And we have to be that basic. And I'm so disappointed.
Absolutely.
You all telling me that the faith base is really of no help or consequence. I'm finding that the young
I'm not saying there's no help or consequences because I will always go through faith based. I was born, raised, and that's where my activism all started at. But when I'm dealing with my numbers, I have to deal with the reality on my numbers. COVID took the number of people away from the church. A lot of people look at church online now. And
However,
then, go ahead.
I was just going to say, however, although that has happened in church, you still have some of those older people in church, like me. I threaten my kids, "You're going to vote." Period.
Our
Point blank.
generation, I just
It's
see,
not
but
even an
let me tell
option.
you the difference, though, Miss White. I'm gonna tell you the difference. When I was growing up, whatever my mother pastor told them to do,
Is what they did,
they did it.
and that's kind of what I'm
Miss
saying.
White,
Like,
Miss White, my pastor cannot tell me who to vote for, okay? So you could
right.
go there and you could go there every Sunday and you could talk in his pulpit, but I'm still going to make my own decision. It's a different
Mhm.
day. And even though I lost my son, I went through that with him. I mean, when he got to a point of age and he was in college, he really wanted to make his own decision. And it wasn't always the decision that I wanted him to make. And that's what's happening in these generations. So you have to have a strategic plan to reach all categories. You
Mhm.
can't, like I tell my candidates, leave me alone about that goddamn endorsement. Endorsement don't mean anything today because Jesse endorsed Terry, but and Sally may not even like Jerry. You know what I'm saying? But you want Jerry vote and you want Sally vote. So everything is strategic. Even when it comes to my local elections, you take it for instance. You got your state rep districts, Parker. You know you got your senate districts. Even with that, when it comes to churches, I'm careful because you take, for instance, I go to one of the largest churches here in Miami-Dade County, Newburgh. That's my church.
Mhm.
However, if I'm the attorney that was just on here, I'm assisting him with his campaign.
Mhm.
Taking him to my church is not as important as most people may think it is because they don't know how to strategically plan. What they're looking at the people. But with my church being as large as it is, half of them people from Broward and half of them people from Dade and the people in Broward can't vote for him. So I got to
Right.
get him in the churches in the South where I know all those people live in. But mostly, I'm gonna tell you who holds a lot of weight in Miami now:
Mhm.
community meetings.
Yeah.
More people turn out to community meetings now. I mean, parents of murder children meetings are larger than some church services. I mean, honestly,
It works in any state if you go. Um,
right?
in any state. I'm kind of with what Miss Baker was saying. Like, show them, like, you don't like that this police is doing you like this, that, and the third, but help them to understand that the mayor does the hiring and calls the shots. Mr. Benjamin was up here and he spoke on how people don't know that those judges are elected, right? And they don't understand that, and they don't know to look at this person's record and see how much time is he likely to give you as opposed to
that's
this
right.
judge over here. You
It's
know,
amazing you
what are,
say that, Miss White. It's
yeah, what
amazing,
are their records holding? Like, what
right?
drives them? What motivates them? And who did he endorse for mayor? Like, just these are the kind of things that we
Judges
have to
can't
look at.
endorse. Judges are not allowed to
Well,
endorse.
the judges aren't, but I mean, just who are you supporting? Like, go before that. What was he doing before he was a
This is
judge?
the thing
Like,
with judges. With judges,
you just follow their trail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Follow their trail. Um,
let
understand.
me tell you what to do. So I might get in trouble because it's live and everybody gonna see it. But let me just tell you, when you get in trouble and you need an attorney, God forgive me,
Be nice so you
Miss
can say it
Parker,
twice.
Miss Parker, send them wrong though. Go get an attorney that gave a contribution to that judge.
Mr. Baker, I asked a question on our channel a couple of
You
days ago.
Miss Baker,
Yeah, I'm
you
here.
heard what I said? I told him, somebody get in trouble, go get an attorney that gave a contribution to that judge.
Yeah,
Now you go get that judge opposition if you want to.
No, I hear you, sis, but like I live in a state where we don't elect judges. My governor is one of
Reelect.
a
no,
point.
my governor is one of the most empowered governors out of the 50 states because he appoints them and they go before the Senate. And if somebody got an attitude with you, they can block your appointment if you're from their county, which is a which is just like a whole nother thing.
I was
What Miss
appointments
Wright
as
was saying,
well. Our
I think we
governor,
need to.
we
I think
have the appointments. We do have appointments as well.
no, no,
Governor
no,
just
no, no, no. We don't have any elections
oh, okay. No, we
for
even if you
for
get appointed, right?
AG. No, we don't have any elections for attorney general, state treasurer,
Okay,
judges. There are no elections. The New
okay.
Jersey governor appoints
Oh,
everybody
okay,
and picks everybody.
okay. So that's only here on the federal side, and that's another thing I want to say to people. The news don't put out when the president appoint a federal judge. That that's just too much, right? But I want to say Florida have a black U.S. attorney, fair, involved with the community, a part of the community. He was appointed by Biden.
That's right.
So well, I'm just saying that I got some federal judges on the bench now that look like me. They was appointed by Biden. See, you all don't see those things. That's the power he has, where he can appoint different people in position, and he appoint people like-minded like us and people that understand us to help us through the system. That's what you all don't see that he's able to do. So if you get in trouble tomorrow, or one of your family members get in trouble tomorrow, and you call Tangela Sears about court, let me just tell you something now. I'm being honest with y'all now. And I've said this to some people personally. I've helped for over 30 years. I've been helping black folks, Hispanic folks as well, white folks. I help anybody come to me, honestly. But I'm telling y'all, on election night, I think I'm in Washington on election night. But wherever I'm at on election night, I will be studying numbers all over the world.
That's
And
right.
I'm telling you, I don't mind helping nobody in the world. But if y'all vote this enemy that's gonna take us back 100 years, gonna cause division, gonna cause fights, gonna cause somebody to get killed in that White House, if that's who y'all chose to support, I don't tell you what to do, but I will say this. That piece of Tangela Sears will be completely over in terms of helping. You all gotta call him, not me. You
Well, you
call
know that
him.
ain't gonna happen when you
Okay,
call
but
them.
they gotta call Trump. Call
Yeah,
me.
Yeah, but
Call
that's why
Trump.
we have to meet people where they are.
where they
If
are.
you're telling me that there's a
You get
large
some. You get
audience,
some. Miss Pop,
if
you
you're
got
saying there's a larger audience at community meetings, then I need to be at those district and those community
you
meetings. If you're telling me that there's a
speaking.
larger audience outside the candy store on the third Wednesday of every month, I need to be outside the candy store on the third Wednesday of every month because that's how we go get it. We have got to meet people where they are. And I love my sister Lillian, and I understand everything that she was saying.
And
And
she's
I
a
understand,
master.
I understand the demographics, but like I was explaining to people, I am no longer in persuasion mode. I'm in let's turn it out because we've got the numbers on our side,
Get it
and you
out the
can't
mud.
sit around trying to persuade people who are like, you can't persuade me. So I'm not going to do that. I think we need to start right now. We have a lot of special elections up here, actually, in the state of New Jersey, but um, we need to start right now. And I'm learning more, and I'm listening closely to my sister Tangela and my sister Miss White to understand what's happening in the state of Florida. And I think so. What has happened there is so going parts of the nation,
You
which goes back
talk about us.
2020. No, no, listen to what I'm saying. Goes back to Project 2025 because stuff that they've already done in Florida is in that document. Why? Because the Heritage Foundation is all over the place. And the man was on Fox News. I listened to, because I look at Fox a lot so I can hear what they're saying.
You got to
The
know.
same guy was on MSNBC, and straight up he said, this is what we're going to do when we get Donald Trump elected. And if the left tries to resist, there will be a bloodbath. So I don't want to hear Speaker Johnson talking about any kind of political violence when you all have already set the stage. Our
Do
money.
y'all know? Well, Miss Parker, let me ask them. Do they know that
Not connected.
We can't hear you, Tan.
let's see. There they go. Miss
There you
Parker. But do you know what they don't understand is those people on that side, they be meeting, they be plotting, they be planning together. So they make sure that their numbers are filled in the US Senate. They make sure that their numbers are filled in the Congress. We don't even get along. Not just on YouTube, in Congress either. In politics either. There's an
Yeah.
issue when it comes to us.
anywhere. That's true.
Yeah,
And
but
I
see,
want to
I
share
see the
something.
problem, but then that means we have to be the resolution. We can identify the problem. We could probably
Tired, Miss Parker.
I know you are, baby, but we can identify these problems because people will call me up and they'll say, Miss Baker, you know we lost that election. Do you know what those, and they might pick a demographic, you know what those people did? And I have to say to them, I don't care what they did. I need to know what you're doing. What are you doing? And people say, oh, she's getting kind of mean or whatever. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about what are we going to do. And I know, sis, there's some thankless nights. There's some thankless days.
Got them coming
Let
up.
me
Oh
say
my
this to you.
God.
Let me say this to you, everybody on here and everybody listening. Estina Baker sees you. Because there are some thankless days, some thankless nights, sometimes where you say, you know what? I'm not even doing this anymore. I might just go ahead and move to Freeport or move to Nassau or move to wherever. But
You
I
telling
want
the
you all,
truth.
but I want you all to know right now, because I started at the bottom and worked my way all the way up to the top so that I could learn everything so nobody
So
would
did
have
I.
anything
So
over
did
me.
I.
I want you to know, Sister Tangela, Miss White, my sister Lillian, I see you. Estina Baker sees you. And I got you. But we just can't let up. We
So
cannot
Miss
let up.
Baker, let me tell you something that I'm experiencing right now in Florida. So, you know, even when the election is over, I'm in commission meeting. I go up to Tallahassee, state rep meetings. I'm up
Yeah.
in Washington. In fact, I think I'm in Washington 3 weeks in September. Um, but this is my thing. How do we get? I try to help people understand we play a role after the election. It's not just, okay, we elected them. Now, where they at now? Have you been to commission meeting? In Miami, I'm not mad at the Cubans. Everybody know they've taken over. Everybody know that they run Miami. But I can't be mad at them because you know what? They came in, they united, they voted, They took the jobs that blacks won't even think about that our grandparents had to do. They did what they needed to do. They came up. 20 of them are living in one house on one block. And the next thing you know it, they got a house. About 15 houses on that street belong to them because they
Absolutely.
saved up, they worked together. And I think that's where our problem is going to come in. But I believe it's not just us that do what we do. Miss White out there, she do her work. Miss Parker, you go out there, you do your work. I go out there, I do my work. Let me give you all some ideas of what I do though. Example, I got a very difficult race that I'm involved with. And that's for the first time since the 50s, Florida, Miami-Dade County have a sheriff race on the ballot. Now, I'm over an organization, Florida Parents of Murdered Children. That's not political to me. So when you take time and you help me get legislation passed, you help me get funds for these families and things, 9 times out of 10, you got my support. I'm strong, so Joe Biden, but very rare you can get me to say vote blue because it's really according to the election. I don't know if you remember Miss Parker, Carlos Cavello that came up to Washington from Miami. That man was strong when it came to the black community. And I remember his opponent who's running again now say, how could you support him because he's Republican? But I was able to sit down and run down to her the reason I can support him and the reason so many families that had become victims was supporting him. And as I've gotten older, I used to be that person out there. Vote blue, vote blue, vote blue, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. As I've gotten older and as I've lost a son to gun violence, I vote for the people that's willing to help me get things done.
But that's the way it's supposed to be. When I worked in labor, when I was the senior state director for the AFL-CIO in Pennsylvania, I had a whole plan of how we were going to do elections until I went and met with the state feds. And the reality is, if people are voting your way, or if people are voting for issues that are important to you, issues or things that you need to get passed, you have to be able to do business. That was the civility of it all. Washington has devolved into something else. And just like Tip O'Neill said more than 40, 50 years ago, all politics are local. When he was Speaker of the House, he told you straight up, all politics are local. How could Ed Kennedy and the guy from West Virginia, Senator Byrd, people say, well, how could they be friends? Because all politics are local. So I'm not mad at you. I don't question your validity, not with the kind of community work that you do, because we got to get things done. Washington has devolved into a quagmire of a big mess that we're not working across the aisle for the common good of the American people. Because for me to see that old racist Senator Tuberville out of Alabama touting about some infrastructure problems for Mobile and around there, he voted against every single bill. Now, Congresswoman Terry Sewell is the only one that voted affirmatively to pass those infrastructure bills because do not, we do not, we allow this discourse
In here,
as opposed to
put it
telling
in
people,
here.
y'all don't work together, we ain't voting for you.
And they stick to that. Like they mean that. In the Republican Party, they mean that. A couple of weeks ago, my voice was fading quickly when I was sick, but I tried to introduce our people to Hakeem Jeffries, to let them know who he was and what he was about. Um, I've come to also to the realization in regards to Trump. I have to go back to that. He is who he is. And anybody that's willing to vote for him at this point, because Tangela is sick of that. Like, it just turns her stomach to know as hard as she worked to get somebody to vote. And then that's kind of where they lean into, right? Come to the realization that he is who he is. And no matter what you say, he's not going to change. Like, so my focus is not on so much exposing him because we already know who he is, you know?
Oh,
But
We
wait a minute,
know
let
who
me
he
ask
is.
a question. Let me ask a question. The people, sisters, that y'all are talking about, do they make $500,000 or more a year?
Absolutely not. That's
So I
another
don't
thing.
understand. Like, it's beyond my comprehension because nothing that they pass has any relevance
For
to
us.
the majority, not all, but to the majority of our communities.
So what they say is, here, let me give you these little crumbs over here to distract you so I can do over here what it is I really want and need to do. That's why I want our people to learn what's really available for them. Like, I want to educate. I have a dear friend. She's not a grant writer, okay? She sits on this federal government board and she approves or denies grants, okay? I want them to forget about a stimulus check that's going to be gone in what, a week, a couple of days, whatever. I want you to forget about that and learn that there are funds out here for you that you can put yourself in a position that you never have to worry about a stimulus check. You know, I asked them, who is your precinct leader? They didn't know. Number one, didn't even know what they do. Didn't even know, like, for instance, I had a neighbor. I still live in the same community I service. Like Tangela, I didn't move away. I still live in the middle of them. The same people I service. I had a neighbor. A tree fell over on his home in the middle of a storm. Your precinct leader is that person who gets out here and says, okay, um, here's some resources for you. This is where you can stay tonight. Tomorrow morning, somebody will be picking you up to take you to look at this house or go online. You know, they move a little differently now because of the world of electronics, but they look out for their community in their precinct. They
she
let you
taught me that today, Miss Parker. She taught me that today, and I told her every state is different. But I'm going to reach out to my election supervisor because I already text her. I text her, told her to call me in the morning. I know she got her husband and daughter. I don't really want to bother her Sunday, but I asked her to call me in the morning because I want to know, are you aware that precinct leaders can help people with their roofing and different things through different agencies?
Are the precinct leaders knocking doors so people know who they are?
No, but they put these signs out for the community meetings that people don't want to go to. This is where
I
you meet
see.
your
I
precinct
see.
leaders. And you find out, I was explaining to Tangela, let's say somebody has a leaky roof. Well, your precinct leader, they don't have funds on hand that they're just going to pay for it, but they have resources that have resources. You
Absolutely.
follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And our people don't even know that. Like, that's why it's so important to vote on the local level. Like, in these small elections is what makes things happen. And this is what I want our people to begin to know, learn, and understand. So that's why I was speaking on going down the list from A to Z, literally not skipping a alphabet, to show people this affects you. Because we don't know what affects us and don't affect us. We just think the world goes around and don't think about what's in the middle of it. So this is the kind of things that I want to show our people. When I learned about Republicans utilizing every fund, they're in a deficit whenever they time in because they spend everything that's there and not there. You know what I'm saying? We don't. You know why? We don't even know what's available to us. We don't know what we have.
So we
And
come up with a plan to make sure, because if the people don't know, they don't know what they don't know. And so
right.
we have to have which I know y'all got because y'all are fabulous, but some other community organizers to go, just like you said, Miss Hope, Sister Hope, that just like go door to door with the one pager so that people understand, because then they like, well, whoa,
So,
what?
okay, so the door to door. So let me just, I'm going to be honest with you, Miss Parker. I'm in the middle of an election now. So that's to me, that's the NAACP, that's the
Of
NAN,
course.
that's Pulse, that's their project. Because in reference to my candidates, my job now is to really hit my 4 and 5 voters.
That's right. That's right. But you can't be everywhere and do everything, which
I
is why
understand
we
it.
got to engage these other community groups
I
to
had
be
to
on
learn it.
top of what they should be doing.
Right. I had to learn that myself because I used to try to do both, but it was an older political leader that was that was like I mean awesome throughout the nation that said to me years ago, you have to make a decision. Are you going to be an advocate or are you going to be a consultant? Because being both can really kill you. You know, and being a consultant, you cannot always do all the things that you want to do as an
No,
advocate.
no, you
And
can't.
so what I started doing was the advocacy goes into my ear and it goes into my candidate and making commitments of what they would do. And then that determines whether or not I will work with you.
But that has to do with when we started out the conversation about expertise. I'm very good at playing my position. Other
Right.
people have to learn, and I had to learn how to do that because I was tired all the time. Because I was playing my position, playing Susie's position, playing Johnny's position. And how did that work out? I was tired all the time. So we
Mhm.
have to have these other groups to make sure that they are advocating on behalf of the people. Otherwise,
Well,
it's hard to
let's
justify
be
why they
honest, Miss
exist.
Parker. Miss Parker, let's be honest. You've been in this years probably before me, and I've been in it for many, many years as well. A lot of the people, whether it be pastors and not all pastors, because this don't relate to all, but it can be pastors, it can be some of these organizations. They have gotten to the point now where they want to become consultants as well. So therefore, they're not able to always deliver out the mission that their organization is supposed to deliver. Hypothetically, NAN, NAACP, all them Paul's organizations, they should be walking door to door, making sure people are registered, following up. That's not my job as a consultant. My job as a consultant is once they drop those ballots, and just as I'm thinking about that, you all need to call your elections department tomorrow and make sure you are registered to vote. The deadline is coming. I know
Yeah.
Miami deadline is July. July, I can give you the date. I see Boo in the morning from Miami. I'll give y'all a date of the Miami deadline, but you have to register or you will not be able to vote. Now, I know a lot of people say, I'm just going independent. That's your decision. I choose not to be independent because I want to vote in every race. I want to have a voice in every goddamn race. When I learned that these people make the decisions over my life, it was important that I vote in every single race and that I be at the table as well.
Mm-hmm. And don't use the excuse that, well, the lines are too long. Because working for the Board of Elections, let me tell you guys why the lines are long. The lines are long when it's time for a presidential election because you didn't vote in the primary, because they don't know how to staff. They don't know how many machines are needed, how many extra polls need to be put in place, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Like, you just pop up now. And if you're voting in between, they kind of it's called forecasting. They kind of know what to expect. But if you're just jumping up at this time, they kind of really don't know what to expect. Even if you're registered, you know what I'm saying? Um, it's a lot that goes into it, y'all. We just really have to step up. I don't think I've told you this, Miss Leland, but I heard you say you worked in North Carolina, and that's where I'm at. Um, we don't have Alma Adams out here walking the
Oh,
streets, knocking door
you're
to
in
door.
North Carolina?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you in
Um,
Mecklenburg County?
yes, ma'am.
I ran
Yes, ma'am.
Ellis Scarborough. I ran Miss Ella
Yes, ma'am.
Scarborough's
Yes,
comeback
ma'am.
election.
Well, I
Yeah.
knew
Baby,
you would
if she
know when I
if
said
she
Alma Adams. I
wins
knew that you would
election, Miss
know.
White will know who she is,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes, yes.
That was
So,
my I came to her service, but that was my absolute
That's
yes,
heart.
what they do,
an
Miss White. They
amazing,
try to
absolutely.
put us in different places to assist. I'm just so Miami. Oh my God. I don't want, now I did Daytona for them one time, but
Mm-hmm.
I did what Miss Parker talked about. I just used my expertise and identify someone. And I was like, if I could just make them like me there, you know what I'm saying? To do the things that I'm doing because they more connected with the people in their area than I am.
Yeah.
Um,
I was
No,
but
sharing
I
with
yeah,
understand that. But
I
see,
was
what
sharing with
happened in North
Tangela earlier
Carolina, they
that
cut down
Mecklen
the days of early voting.
so
got to
Why?
have
we
an
haven't,
ID.
we're not
Because
doing
the
that in
state
Miami.
house, because who was elected to the state house, and when the last Pat McCrory, as soon as he was the mayor of Charlotte. Soon as he got elected to the state house, he became. I mean, he didn't even put the hood on. I mean, like everything just come off, and they cut down because when I was down there, they had one of the longest early voting that I had ever encountered. And then you
Yep.
all also they have no line. So New Jersey has New Jersey got a whole nother thing. But Mecklenburg and if
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, Alma had to move because of how they gerrymandered because she was closer to Greensboro.
Right.
And then
Draw the
I had
lines
just
out.
I had just left. I had just finished running Ella's race and then she came to Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't she come
Mm-hmm.
to Charlotte?
She did. She did.
Exactly, which is ridiculous with all those black people in North Carolina. How I think, is Butterfield still there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's just the way they gerrymandered, and our children, and not just our children, but our community needs to
Our communities
understand
as a whole, and it
when they
affected
do
the
that
elderly
to
so
us,
bad.
they take our power. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
like you're saying, hey, just go ahead, take my power away, just take it away. And if
Mm-hmm.
somebody cut you in line at McDonald's, you would put up more of a fight of them cutting you in line at McDonald's than
Then the
taking
voting
your
line. Mm-hmm.
taking. I didn't know you in North Carolina. We'll have to
I
exchange numbers.
am.
I got people for you.
Yeah. I was sharing with Tangela earlier that in Mecklenburg County, where our city, Charlotte, that is growing so fast that you can put 5 or 6 busloads of people move here every day.
Yeah,
Not every week,
yeah.
every day. And you got to be able to keep up. Like, you really have to be able to keep up. Our homeless population is through the roof.
So you know how with people, you know how you listen to people and a lot of things you agree with and a lot of things you don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I I I agree with stop letting these people come into to our states because we as black people we're suffering now. We don't even have a black community anymore.
I hate to cut you, Tangela. Tay's in the comments. Somebody
Where
said
say
she
I
doesn't
she
want to
probably
come
want
up.
to come up. I know she want to come up. That's Trump.
She said, "Are they getting another
I'm gonna
president?"
give the opposition an opportunity to come and say what she gotta say. She wanted me to come up at night after the debate. I was not coming up. Hey, Miss Parker, I was not coming up after that debate. Okay, I was
That
going to
was a
bed.
debacle. It wasn't a debate.
Oh,
It
you're
was a
talking to
debacle.
me. She getting tired. Baker, please call me Estina. I'd feel so much more comfortable if you call me Estina.
Hey,
Okay.
Estina, the night Latae wanted me, even last night, I think Latae wanted me. I have to be careful coming up with Latae. Latae love herself some Trump, but if I just sent the link to you, Tay, but when Tay get up here, I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret. Tell y'all a little
I gave
secret.
Tay homework when I was in the hospital. I hope she did her homework.
Tay,
That
tell
is,
about are they getting another president?
I think that
Kathy,
are you
take.
all going to Chicago?
Uh-huh.
Is anybody going to Chicago?
I am scheduled to do an interview in Chicago. Is they trying to decide whether it's gonna be there go my baby. There go my sister right there.
Tay,
They
tay,
trying to decide
tay.
whether it's gonna be Chicago or Baltimore. But where are you, Miss Parker?
Oh, you talking to me?
Miss
Yeah, where
Baker.
are you?
My
Where are
last
you?
name is
You in New Jersey.
yeah, but I'm a delegate. And so hopefully I'll get a chance to speak at the Black Caucus at our African American caucus meeting. Um, but I'm a delegate, so I'll be in Chicago like I think the 18th. I get to town on the 18th, but I have your number. I want you to share my phone number with Sister Hope, and I'm getting ready to send Lillian a message. So I'm not sure. I don't have Lillian's number.
I'll
But
send it to you. I'll send it to you because she's a good person for you to know.
okay, because she said I'm looking at the
And her and Marilyn knows each other as well. We all talk on Facebook together.
oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. Because I
Marilyn
know
be Marilyn be bougie sometimes. I have to bring Marilyn up. Just hey,
Hey,
how
Tangela, I miss you. You look so pretty up there today. Oh my God, I miss you. Hey, everybody, what is going on today? What's going on with you, Democrats? What's going on with you, Democrats?
Hey, Lady Republican.
Hey, Tay.
It's been a
Hi,
lot of
Tay.
motion. Yeah, it's been a lot of motion, baby. Yeah, the Holy Ghost. Let me tell you who I am. Anyway, I'm Tay with the peace. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm a life insurance, health insurance agent for like 8 years. I also have been doing income taxes for over 18 years. But anyway, what I want to talk about today, I'm also a Republican for this year. Anyway, I'm a Trump supporter. But also, I wanted to say, look like y'all president, look like y'all should have got on the Democrats damn near dropped the ball. What's going on? Everything I said, that Holy Ghost
Miss
is true. And most
Parker,
of all,
Miss
I'm anointed.
Parker, Miss Parker, Miss
Yes, very
Parker,
excited about life.
Miss
But what
Parker,
I said was
Miss
that
Parker, or Miss
y'all
White.
almost got the ball. Democrats been laying y'all been this. I had everything I said came true. God let it come true. Cause I asked y'all, why has this man not been making appearances? Why he's not been making speeches? God let it show why he's not been making speeches. Because he's
why.
got Parkinson or
Miss
dementia.
Parker,
He
Miss
got
Parker,
Parkinson or dementia.
Miss Parker, or Miss White. Can
Yeah,
I
let's
tell
get
you all?
Yeah.
Wait, Miss
Okay.
Parker.
So
No, Miss Parker.
everybody
Wait,
can't
Miss
talk at the
Parker. Miss
same
Parker.
time.
Miss Parker. Wait,
Okay.
Miss
Everybody
Parker.
can't talk
Wait,
at the
Miss
same time.
Parker. Miss Parker. Miss Parker. Miss White. Before y'all start, ask her what her congressional leader name.
Yeah. Where are you from? First of all, I need to know where you're from.
So what's her congressional leader name?
What's your state,
Yeah. What
Tay?
state are you from?
yeah. I'm in Atlanta.
So you're in Georgia. So for me personally, for me to understand, I will take somebody who is an adult stutterer because that's what the reality. Our president has been a stutterer since he's a
All
child.
his
He's an
life.
adult
Yeah.
stutterer. I will take someone who takes a minute to say his words and say his things, but know what the hell he's talking about. I'm from the greater New York area, and I have to be quite frank with you. I have absolutely no respect with someone who has no idea, no concept of even what the Constitution is about. So if people have a problem with someone being an adult stutterer, I personally do not. I'm at the
Oh,
age.
no, you did just try to play in my face like
Hold on. I'm at the age where I've got patience to understand that the presidency is bigger than one individual, and it has a lot to do with who you surround yourself with, who's in Congress, and who is in the Senate. So,
Your
am I getting the
administration.
feeling that Marjorie Taylor Greene is your congressional person?
Hmm.
Now I'm just going to take a quick off the top of my head. Is Marjorie Taylor Greene one of the most ignorant individuals? And that has nothing to do with party affiliation. That has to do with I don't even know what she did in high school. I'm not sure if she went to school beyond that, but that person frightens me not because of her political affiliation, but because of her blatant ignorance.
Who she is as a person. Mm-hmm.
Is that your rep?
My rep is Nikita Williams.
Who took John Lewis's?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the young sister that took John Lewis's spot?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there's an echo again. I just don't want it to get out of control.
I have a question, Tay.
I already answered my question first. You know what I'm saying?
What was your question?
I'm trying to see, is your president sick?
No, ma'am.
Let
me say this before I ask you my question.
He did not do it. Is your president a felony?
Is he what?
After your president pressed charges on him, he is. But then that have nothing to do with politics. But his felonies have nothing to do with politics.
Listen,
because if you can't get a job because of felony records, you shouldn't be able to be a president.
Well, that's another day and another time. Where right now he's on the ballot. And you said out of your own mouth, wherever it's on the ballot, you can't change it.
Okay,
hold on. The reality is this: if you're proud to have a convicted felon as your candidate, I say bravo to you. That is not my choice. I wouldn't want a convicted felon because wait just a moment. If there are people in your party that want people to get the maximum for stealing a loaf of bread so they can feed their families, because a crime is a crime. Okay. But to have a convicted felon, 34 counts, jury of your peers, if that's okay with you, I say bravo. It's not okay with me.
All right. So because we all okay, I thought it was my turn to talk, but I'll be quiet.
Go ahead. I just wanted to answer your question, but you go ahead and then I'll answer your question.
No, I was gonna rebuttal what she said. Then we can have a conversation.
All right.
First of all, we all have issues. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really care. I don't trust no man. All men have issues that walk this earth. If God was to pull skeletons out of everybody's closet, there will be some. So there is no perfect man, including Joe Biden's son. None of us are perfect. We all have issues. So therefore, I don't feel like that have anything. Those charges that they came back from 20 years, 40 years ago to try to press against this man is a sabotage to me. You know what I'm saying? That they just pressed maybe 30 days ago. Those charges just took effect 30 days ago. Once Joe Biden, that's what he's been working on to try to sabotage Trump. That's my opinion. Am I talking with somebody else?
Are you a Black American?
Not enough.
Let me ask sis. Are you Black?
Yeah, I'm a Black American, but
okay. So do you know?
I was talking. You know,
so I just wanted to know if you were Black. Okay.
Okay. Now.
It might be just enough to feel it. Try it right before I put this up. All right, Rosa.
Well, I'll wait for her to come back on, but I am curious. The fact, first of all,
no, Tay's still here.
Biden is not on the ballot. That's number one. Number two, your candidate, like I said, if that's who you want, if you want a man who made a living making sure that people look like you would not be able to rent the apartments that he and his father had, I think that's marvelous. If you want a man that would not hire people that look like you to work in the casinos in Atlantic City, in the state that I'm currently in, I say bravo to you. If you make over $500,000, I think you should vote for whoever you want to. But if you don't, there is absolutely nothing that will uplift you. But if that's okay with you, it's great with me.
Start for the water cooler. You got enough? Yeah. I press start and the water come on.
Yeah, because all this stuff y'all talking about with Trump is over 40 years ago, and anybody can grow. Anybody
Wait,
can
we
grow.
have
Just like you have black men that are convicted felons.
Tay.
They
Hold on, my sister Tay. Hold on, my sister. Rose.
Yes, yes.
How are
Can you
you?
hear me?
Yes. Could you
I'm
introduce
good.
yourself first?
Yes, I'm good. How's everybody on the chat?
We're good. Could you introduce yourself? Hello.
Yes.
Could you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Rose Blasian. How's everybody?
Everybody's good. And you're calling from where?
Virginia.
Okay. And you have a question? Do you have a question?
Hello? Hello?
Do you have a question?
Hello?
I can hear you.
We can hear you, love.
Hello? Hello?
We hear you.
Y'all
What's
coming in and out. I can't hear you.
what's
Go
your
down and come
question?
back up to get a
Hello?
better connection.
Go down and come back up.
All right.
Okay.
To the other sister, I'm just curious. Does she have a black job?
Hey.
The other sister that was talking with us, I'm just curious. Does she have a
Right.
black job?
With everybody.
Okay, let me say one thing. Okay, let me say this.
Tonight she missed me.
Okay, let me say something. Okay, now my statements, what I say, is not to be used in a personal defensive manner. That means that we are not. I'm a businesswoman, so therefore I do business and I don't take nothing personal but my kids and my mama. That's personal to me. Anything else is business to me. So I learned how to do business without being personal. I don't get in my emotions. I don't get in my feelings. So what I say, I leave here. And when I go back to where I'm going or whatever I'm doing next, that's dead on it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I say to you, I left here. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have a black job or no?
Tay, is
I
that why
told you
you
I was a
love
life insurance agent,
Tay?
health insurance agent.
Tay, is that why you love me and love Trump? You could love us both.
Now, like I told you, yes, it's because it's not. It's like what I. Okay, we can agree that we don't have to. People don't agree with their mama all the time. We don't
My
have to like
sister, but we
everything
don't agree on
together to
nothing.
still be cool. with each other. We don't have to like everything together. People don't. I don't agree with my mama every day, and
Miss
she
Parker
had.
got a question. Miss Parker got a question for you. Or was it Miss White? One of y'all had a
I
question
wanted
for
to
her?
answer her question about the debate. It was a horrible debate, hands down. There's nothing we can say about that. Okay, he does have a stutter, has had it all his life, but you know how something happens, you got it together, and this is to everybody in the chat too. You know, you have it together, everything working fine, and as soon as you get around somebody, you be like, God, dang on it! Just I knew as soon as I got here, it was gonna mess up, and that's kind of where Biden was, because if you go back. He redeemed himself, baby, on that George Stephanopoulos interview. Did you watch that?
Yeah, he did after some medication and some sleep.
Can you prove that? Now he did need some sleep
They
because he
say
had been traveling.
Parkinson disease man been up there. The doctor been up there 8 times this year.
Child. Anywho, okay. Do you know that his I don't even want to go there. But anyway, let me say this. He redeemed himself through that. And I think we do you know where he was at last week? Do you know where our current president was at all last week, in this past week?
No, I'm watching Trump. I haven't been watching him.
Okay, he's been out of the country doing his NATO stuff, right? I'm gonna break it down. He's been out of the country doing his NATO stuff, doing his interviews. Did that doctor go with him?
His medication did.
What's the medication?
He on.
What's the disease? As a matter of fact, help me.
Oh, everybody thinks he's got dementia.
Thinks.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. The
Do you
stuff
know
that he was saying,
dementia? Let me say this.
Barack
Tay, I'm
Obama would
talking
have
to you,
not come
right?
with that bag like that at that
Tay,
election.
I'm talking to you, and I'm speaking to you. Do I sound clear?
Go ahead. You good.
I'm asking a question. Do I sound clear?
I say you good.
Do I sound demented or slow or any of that?
You sound okay. You sound fine.
Okay. I have white matter.
Yeah. Okay.
There's nothing wrong with me.
Dementia
fact,
is a whole nother disease, and Parkinson's disease is a whole nother disease than what. And he still fumbled the bag a little bit when he had prepped himself. But I had asked you why last week when I asked you, I said, why is he not coming forward talking about the economy, talking about what's going on in the world, and giving America some type of speech that all presidents have been doing throughout the whole election. I know why he haven't been giving me nothing. I've been asking him why he haven't been coming forward and been doing what he's supposed to do as a president. They said they were saying he haven't been forward in 8 months by himself. Only reason why he did that thing he came back on last week was because he knew he fumbled the bag at the debate. I'm waiting on the next debate because Donald Trump is ready. And even when he got shot, he threw his fist up and said, "Let's fight, let's fight." We are ready.
And that's a shame. Hey, that's not funny at all. Because that's how January the 6th happened. And that's what I was about to ask you.
And that's how last night happened.
Right. Let's fight? He telling those people to fight?
No, he's saying that no, fighting can mean different things. Fighting in the Bible means different things. Fighting don't have to mean literally. Y'all trying to take it out of proportion. This man just got shot. He's still saying that he's still strong. Like this lady said, she said she'd rather have a president that grab the P than is the P. You know what I'm saying? That's what she said she'd rather have a president that grabs the P.
That's ridiculous. To me,
I'm gonna take that fight just like you took. I'm gonna take that fight just like how
wait a minute. Donald Trump, when Donald Trump stood on the G7, he had no idea what he was doing in Europe for the G7. Tay, you know what the G7 is?
No, she don't know.
Okay, so he just got back from dealing with NATO. Donald Trump doesn't think we should even be in NATO because Vladimir Putin is more important, and he was trying to get that hotel. Just like he thought the president of China, he was a good guy. Oh, geez. Now Ivanka has patents that she didn't have to work 20 years to wait to get. I personally, for all of us, I would like somebody who is knowledgeable, who can represent us in the world, and who understands that people who make under $100,000 have just as many rights as people who make over $500,000.
Exactly.
Well, y'all should have got y'all another president because he's sick.
And also,
y'all should have got y'all another president because they been knew he was sick. That's why he ain't been doing those meetings like he had been coming forward doing nothing on the economy, talking about the government, saying nothing to the American people, period, as a president should have been doing. And that's why he been sick. And y'all knew, and the people that's in that party, in that Democrat party, looking real foolish right now because they about to lose their jobs because they knew he was sick. And they didn't even try to
Wait a minute. Why would they be losing their jobs? Why would they be losing their jobs?
Bills that are helping.
They hired through Joe Biden.
Wait a minute. They had to tell the people. They had to tell your elected officials. None of the Republicans voted for any infrastructure bills, but you got the money coming, and they're fixing roads and doing other things.
And gave us all those jobs.
Right.
Like jobs out of the yin-yang.
Exactly. And none of them voted for it, but they were at the ribbon cutting, and the president said, "Oh, I'm going to see you over to the ribbon cutting," even though you didn't vote for any of those things.
But they went over there and act like they were for it the whole time.
The money for prescription drugs It's much better for our seniors to be paying $35 than $800. But
For
none
them,
of
yeah.
your people voted for that. And that affects people that I'm sure that you know. Forget
Now,
about Republican, forget about Democrat. It affects the quality of people's lives for what you know. So if you want somebody that's a babbling fool, well, then have at it. I'm not going to disagree with you. But I need someone who knows what they're doing. It does not bother me that they don't make the kind of public appearances, because when they make a public appearance, they talk from substance. And that's okay. If that's not what you like, I defend your right to have whatever it is that is good for you. But if you're in the state of Georgia, you just got one hell of an infrastructure package, and not one person in the political party that you are choosing to support voted for that. But
and
if
you can
that's
thank
okay
Donald
with
Trump.
you,
I mean, you can thank Joe Biden for that, because it did not come from the Republicans, and it's making Georgia a better place to this very day. And see, when the economy gets good, when jobs come, the economy gets better. When the economy gets better, you see more money. But let me say this. Um, let's say, because you've made up in your mind that Joe Biden is sick, and apparently ain't none of us gonna be able to change your mind about it. So that's your opinion. I think it's foolery at its finest, but it's your opinion, okay? But I need you
Don't
to
be talking about my
understand.
opinion, because I'm not talking about yours. Because I think you Democrats is really kind of crazy. Knew y'all should have got
Okay,
another president.
and listen, and we're gonna be crazy too, okay? We're gonna be crazy,
Trump,
whatever it
they was
is.
looking at Kamala Harris. They was trying to figure out what
But
they were gonna do.
listen, listen,
They was
Faye,
doggone.
what I need for you to understand is that every president has an administration,
But how the hell you could have a criminal
and
leave your body?
that administration is what carries their
That's
plans
what
through.
I'm is
So
there.
just like we have the Biden administration, before that we had the Trump administration, okay? Before the Trump administration, we had the Obama administration. We
Right.
had the Bush
Bush
administration, the Reagan
administration.
administration.
Right. It
It
goes
is an
on and on.
administration that does that work. So I don't care how crazy you think he is, or slow, or sick, or whatever. His administration is going to carry it through, baby.
Dementia. He been sick. He been sick. He been sick for the
Yeah.
longest. And
Let
they
me
need
help
to get him
you.
out there, because he can't
When
get in
I
the room
when
with them. We can't get in the room with him
when
and them
I
other
say
big
to
countries.
you,
With them other big countries and them presidents. He cannot get in the room with them being weak and trying to represent America. Anyway, I'm
you
finna
can't
drop down.
give
Y'all have a
him
great
any
day.
respect, because when I said to you that I have white matter, you got quiet. You didn't even know what it was. So she went down.
See,
But
That's the
that's
one
it.
I wanted to get on. I'm sorry. Hey, good evening, y'all. How y'all doing today?
How you
how
doing?
you feel? Then I was told you was in the hospital.
Who?
Was you in the hospital?
No,
Not Miss
ma'am.
Debbie. That's Auntie Debbie. She wasn't in the hospital.
Oh, okay. No, somebody texted me. Somebody was in the
Platinum
hospital.
bracelets was in the hospital. She's in the chat though.
Right. That's who. Yes, that's who was in the
She's in the
hospital.
hospital, but she's on here.
Hey, Platinum, praying for you, sis.
Get better soon,
What's wrong
please.
with that young lady who was up there on the panel, y'all?
About like all Trump supporters.
Oh, okay.
No, it's always gonna be one in the crowd, and that's my girl. I like
Yeah,
Tay. I like
I
Tay.
like it
But
too.
Tay and I do not agree when it comes to the presidential election. But I want Tay. I've been trying to help Tay become more familiar with her local elected officials as well. Because that, like, example, July 1st, my governor, the worst governor in the nation, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
I don't
He
know if it's him or Abbott, but yeah.
No, Ron got it, baby. He
Okay.
was the one that signed everything in the law and it's effective immediately. Your president don't sign things that's effective immediately. So, Miss White, what you
This
what I I know you and Miss Parker.
Miss
Hey,
I just
Tang,
everyone.
want
Miss
I think
Tang.
Yes,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Miss
ma'am.
White. Go ahead, Miss White. Go ahead.
Miss Dale, since you just got here, introduce yourself. Let everybody on the panel know who you are, so everybody that's communicating is familiar with one another.
Yes, I'm there. I'm Miss Deb. They call me Auntie Deb. And
Hi, Auntie Debbie.
hey, darling.
I think she was coming up to address Miss Tay because she lives in Georgia also.
Oh,
And
I
I
You
see
think
the
she
panel, the chat
uh-huh.
addressing Tay too. Look at platinum. They ain't playing, man. And
I
look at my
was
brothers. Look at my brothers. My brothers. My
that
brothers said help us get started. DT and Cheese right there in the chat helped us get started.
Miss Tangent. I wanted
I
to
just
ask you a
want y'all to
question.
know I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, little bro. What's up, baby?
Is there
What's
any
up?
way you can? Is there any way you can send me the commissioners in Aiken County?
What? Okay, so go to my messenger tomorrow
Uh huh.
and send me the name of the state and county that you in
Uh
and
huh.
the zip code, and then I can send you that information. Now, Miss Parker may know that information off her head.
I'm sorry. Tell me what it is that you need, my sister.
The commissions of Aiken County, North Augusta, South Carolina.
Do we have a way to contact you?
I don't
I
know,
just
but you
told her to go in my
Yes.
messenger. Go in my
Okay.
messenger, Tangela. See us tomorrow. Not the picture of the people. Do DT have your no? Do Cheese have your information or DT?
no, but
I'll
she
make
can
sure
get it.
you guys. I'll make sure you guys get in contact with one
Okay,
another.
go to my Tangela Sears Facebook, but it's a picture of me and a little girl, the same picture on YouTube. Put it in
Okay.
that messenger. Don't put it in the messenger with me and the lady, cause I don't. There's other people that run that stuff.
Okay.
We can
Okay.
definitely get you that information.
Cause you know I'll be alone down here. Cause it seems like I'm the only Democrat down here in South Carolina.
I told them today, South Carolina, North Carolina, always been racist.
Yep.
What county?
Well,
What county is
honestly,
it?
Florida,
A-
we gonna
Aiken
work
County.
hard in Florida, but Florida look like it's about to head red as well.
I
But
can
if
get.
they
I can
but if
definitely.
they get out there and vote, they can overturn all of that.
That's all they need to do. That's all it
That's
takes.
all they need to do. Because see, I was staying in Jacksonville when they had to do their recount.
Mhm.
I was staying in Jacksonville then. They had thrown out all the blacks votes on the north side.
You
Dang.
know, they like to keep up gerrymandering so they can kind of control the flow of how the population move. And if you ever pay attention, those gerrymandering lines go right down the interstate. You ever paid attention to that, Miss Baker?
Yes, I have.
Miss Baker,
Mm-hmm.
y'all see my brother in North Carolina telling me, Angela, don't talk about my state.
Well, I mean, we gotta. Our state has come a long way. It has come a very very long way, but we still have a very long way to go. We have a Democratic governor now, and he's made some things possible for
And
us.
you have a fool running against.
Yes, sir. Oh gosh, be with us.
Well,
Be
what
with us.
I just really want him to get in there because we already know that his health is not up to par.
Miss
But
you, what you think about last night? Do you think last night was a setup?
yeah, that was a straight setup. Simple reason
Okay.
because you look at that man. If he would have got shot, I would got up out the bed now. If he would have got shot with an AK,
Just getting up.
baby, if he would have got shot with an AK, like they said, he wouldn't have had no face. And nobody around him next to him wouldn't have had one.
Mm.
Miss Baker, do you think it was a setup last night? Let's talk about last night. That's what they want to hear us talk about. Let's talk about last night.
I need a little more information because I still don't understand how a 20-year-old with no military training, no social media footprint, no nothing, and how was that building not secured? I give you an example,
Mm.
and my sister White knows this. In 2012, we were going to have President Obama do his acceptance speech in Bank of America Stadium. Now, Bank of
Big
America,
town.
right? Bank of America, instead of doing it like we had, the convention was in the arena, but we were going to be in Bank of America Stadium because we wanted to open it up to the community. I work civic engagement on that. So all of the buildings that are near Bank of America, because they moved all the black people out of their homes and they knocked all of that down, and the rest of those buildings were like factory-like buildings, but they got flat roofs.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't do it there, even though they said it was because of the weather. It wasn't. It was because we could not secure the
The area.
president's safety. And Sister Hope knows that there's a lot of buildings around there that got flat roofs, just like that roof last night. Now, I'm trying to understand, how was that not secured? And how did a 20-year-old with no footprint, no nothing, no address, so that he looked like he was part of the roof? And I'm with my other sister here from Aiken down to Aiken, South Carolina. I don't understand how, if he was shooting an AK, how he just got the plastic, and because I don't think he got shot by the bullet. I think the
He
plastic.
got grazed.
Okay, I'm not even sure about that. If he was actually grazed, or those things that they put up when
At the
when
movie.
the former president, like a
The
reflection,
plastic
a
that goes
plastic
around
thing.
the reader. That goes around the reader.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, and I'm a person who is, so I've got a couple of my people on here watching tonight, and they know that I'm always like, yo, give me the facts. Don't tell me your opinion. Don't tell me what you're thinking. I'm not really big on conspiracy. Well, I was with COINTELPRO, but that's for another program. Um, but I'm not big on that. But I am big on what happened last night, because there are people that yesterday they were like, well, I'm more MAGA now than ever. And people were like, okay, so it worked. Something just not right about last night. And then the people that got killed, who killed them? Did the 20-year-old boy kill those people in the audience,
Or the sniper.
or was it the Secret Service sniper? Like, I'm not clear on that.
My thing is, I'm not clear on if they had snipers on every building, why didn't they have one on that building?
Thank you,
And
Miss
that
South Carolina.
and that
I
building there was directly to him. That's
I
a
have
build.
watched this thing over and over, and I challenge you all to watch it again. I'm too. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Several people have reached out to me and asked me for my opinion. I said I need more information. I like to wait for the investigative journalists. That's what the people I want to hear from.
I,
Okay.
I do I do too, but I still think it's a setup that went bad.
They said it was
You
a
know,
setup today.
I
They
just
Pay
said it
personally
was
think
a
it was
setup.
a setup that went bad, because when I think about January 6th, I think about now what just happened. It was a setup going bad, and the thing is, in politics, it's dangerous. It's
pay
somebody that they
attention.
wanted dead, but did they get the right person? That wasn't
Pay.
supposed to hit Trump here, but I believe that was a setup that went bad, and maybe the wrong person wasn't killed. And if the wrong person wasn't killed, it's definitely going to happen again. How did they get in with a gun? You can't listen. I go into the White House all the time. I go into places that the president is in all the time. The way you are checked down, it got to be a setup for you to have a gun to come in there.
Pay attention
But
to
they
how
went
Trump.
inside. They was outside.
Yeah,
Pay
but
attention to
even
how
on
Trump.
outside, when you come into contact with the president, whether it's outside, inside, There is a process that you go through, even if they outside. You can't even enter the area that they are in unless you go through a process.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
building was not in the
right,
perimeter. The fence
right.
that went around the perimeter, which I still don't understand, how is a building that's only 140 yards away from the stage, not the perimeter. It was like 50 yards away from the perimeter. I don't understand how snipers were not on the roofs of that and it was left to the locals. And I told you all about Butler, Pennsylvania when we started this conversation.
Now, mind y'all, this is what I keep trying to get out. Pay attention to how Trump kneeled down. It's almost like he went and he paused and then he went down. For one, that just sticks out into my head, okay? You have people who are saying out of their mouths that they had seen that man on the building and was trying to alert authorities. Trump's back is turned. These people are facing him saying, hey, somebody's on the roof. Somebody's on the roof. Are you serious? Are you really serious? But I want y'all to go back and pay attention to how he bends down.
How he bend down and come up with his fists up.
The day before yesterday was the only day since Trump has announced that he was running for re-election that they have tied in the polls. Okay, go 2 days, a day before that.
That's right. That's right.
Go even a day before that. Trump distanced himself from the 2025 plan. Says I don't know where it came from because things started kind of shifting for him all of a sudden. And he didn't like it. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by no means necessary. I'm a Virgo all day long. I believe in facts. I can only deal with what's in front of me. That's all I can deal with. But at the same time, I'm no fool either. And what they say, something in the milk ain't clean. I too believe that he's cut. And I'm gonna tell you what really set my suspicions off about all that I was thinking. I thought it last night. But what really put my thought process into motion is when Trump made an announcement and he said it was so much blood. You heard it. It was so much blood.
And it wasn't nothing but a finger cut, look like
a scratch, a little scratch.
it wasn't even a scratch. I believe he put that. I believe when he went down, I believe that's where he put that blood on there. You know what they use in the movie?
He scratched himself.
What they use that blood they use in the movies.
Dang.
That's what I think it was.
Somebody told me something about some pig's blood. I don't know. They said that's what they use. But the reality is that we cannot let that deter us.
Right.
That's right.
That cannot
even
be
more harder now.
And nobody that I have encountered, except for the young sister that was on this evening, nobody that I have encountered has that swayed them that we still don't need to do what we need to do for November the 5th. Nobody has contacted me. People have contacted me more now asking, can I explain Agenda 47 and Project 2025? That's what their concern is.
That's what they want to know. And Trump want to stop us from knowing.
These are people that are not political, like we're, like Sister Tangela, myself, you, Sister Hope, we're people who do this kind of work. So our interest sometimes is a little bit different. I'm talking about regular, everyday folk. They want to know, Mrs. Stina, can you break it down for us so we get it? And I'm about that. Like
I was saying earlier, like nobody knew what it was. So when we started highlighting it, saying, hey, y'all pay attention, it's a 2025 playing out, Trump never said nothing about it. He never, as soon as we started catching wind of it and people start asking questions, he said, that ain't mine. I don't even know where that came from.
They got to still use the clips of him speaking last year at the Heritage Foundation, telling them, whatever you come up with is going to be great. It's going to be great. And I'm going to do. If I was working in the com shop, oh my God, but I'm going to stay in my lane and do what it is that I do.
That's just like he was saying that if he don't make it, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
And
That's right.
so that's how you know he's responsible for January 6th. That's how you know he's responsible for last night. A plan, a setup that went bad.
Now, let
I
me say
don't.
this too, Tangela. When you speak of January the 6th, I think the lady last name was Babbitt that lost her life on January the 6th.
That's
He
right.
uses that. He uses that to his advantage. And he says that a lady lost her life behind January the 6th and faulted the Democrats. You know what he said. How does he feel
He
now?
Yeah.
didn't fault the Democrats, but the Democrats ain't never in life in the history of being Democrats never set nothing like that up. Never,
Mm-mm.
ever.
But how does he feel now that somebody else lost their life? Now, I wasn't going to say it because it's so controversial, but she sat on this panel and she said it out her mouth that Trump said fight. He did not just say it with his mouth, but he put his fist up and he said, fight, fight,
Well, I didn't appreciate him
fight.
appropriating our power to the people. Now, I'm just going to tell you straight up.
Right. I
I didn't
didn't either.
appreciate that. Now, we can
I
talk
didn't
about,
either.
we can be intellectual all we want. I did not appreciate him appropriating our Black Power signal. I didn't appreciate that.
I share with Tangela that I love weapons. I got quite a few. I love them. It's
And
just,
I shared with you my view on it.
yes, ma'am. And we on the same sheet of music. And my thing is, the realistic was saying, you come across with an AK-47. Have y'all ever seen the ammunition on that? Have you seen the ammunition? Let me see if I can pull one up for you. My husband might can go grab one before I can pull it up. Um, the ammunition itself is large, okay? I'm just trying to imagine that big piece of. Let me see. Let me try it. Do y'all know how well it opens up once it hits?
Miss White, they don't know. They don't know. Because that would have blown his whole face off.
And I wish that they were just as upset of him supposedly getting a graze as they are when dozens upon dozens upon dozens of our children in this country suffer from a crazy ass gunman coming into their schools and blowing away dozens of children. I wish they were that upset over those mass shootings as they are over this man supposedly getting shot from a 20-year-old laying up on the roof. I just can't go with it.
I just want to follow up and say I just hope they was just as angry with the black on black killings that I deal with every single day of my life of a black mother losing her daughter, losing her son, losing her second son, losing her third son. And unfortunately, these families don't have anyone by their side. We had some in Chicago. Mel talked about it on her live the other day. Of course, I've been dealing with it in Miami every single day. The only reason things are in place the way it should be in Miami is because I fought my butt off to make sure I change policies, to make sure I change laws. Even under a Republican governor, I was able to get a law change because I did not bring my emotions into it, but I also brought a group of grieving parents. And so it's like, how you gonna fight us in what we feel and what we think and what we feel that
Yeah,
can help our cases? And so it
yeah,
worked. But that's why I tell black people, you could listen, let me just say this. You could go on your Facebook, you could attack your elected officials. Yeah, They may get what I get because I'm a political consultant. Somebody gonna take it, they gonna send it to them or whatever. But for the most, I used to run some of their Facebook pages. They don't see any of that stuff.
They don't. They
You
don't.
gotta go to
They do not.
commission meeting. You gotta
Actually,
sacrifice.
I challenge everybody to find out when your next local community meeting is in your area. Like,
That's what I'm
find
trying to
out
find out right now. Cause I'm so
what.
upset they don't took the kids' phones away from them in school. I'm not with that because you might have an emergency.
Well, mine is next Tuesday.
So,
Yours is next Tuesday.
sisters, I apologize. I'm getting text messages. I was supposed to be on something else at 9 o'clock,
Okay, we
and
appreciate you.
I've enjoyed myself so much.
And
It's like nine
I'm
thirty-six.
I'm sure that we will be communicating throughout the election season, so you'll be back.
Yep, and let's make sure that we make those connections in case you're
Yes,
coming
ma'am.
through Chicago.
We definitely got to, because I did not know. I
You
heard
ain't
you say you worked in North Carolina, but we know the same people in the same circles, so that's amazing.
Absolutely, like
Mhm.
Malcolm Graham when his sister was one of the ones murdered in South Carolina. Senator Graham was my boy, So, Tangela, thank you, sister. You are brilliant. I will uplift and support anything that you're doing. Sister Hope, I'm there. Anything that you're doing. Tangela, share my number with her, please.
I sure will. You mean Miss White?
Miss White,
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
I knew what you meant. It's quite
Thank you.
okay.
That's an older thing
I
now.
sure will. I'll group text you all.
Now, this one, if she could call
Absolutely.
me Miss Barker or Miss Parker or whoever, I knew she was talking about. I
I
knew. I
definitely
love
knew
you.
who.
I love you,
Yeah, I
sisters.
definitely knew.
Yeah, but I want the audience to understand that there's nothing but love and the exchange of information. And hands up to our sister Tangela for bringing us all together. Thank you, sisters. I'm sorry, but I gotta go.
That's
All
okay.
right.
You'll
Nice
be
to
back.
meet you.
Have a
Have
nice
a good
Glad
night.
to have
evening.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
Can
bye.
one can one of you ladies tell me, am I correct when I say that Trump doesn't have Secret Service? He has to have his own security?
No, ma'am. He has Secret Service, and he keeps it to the end of his time. He earned
Yeah,
that.
I thought once he was convicted of the felonies, though, they took that from him.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
He's a
Hmm.
former
Never been.
president.
It's never
He
been
has
put in
not
the
been convicted.
Constitution.
He haven't been
It's
convicted, and he's a former president, and they still get so many years of services.
it's never been put in the Constitution for it to go away.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I thought I had saw that in the news that they were taking
See,
it
we
away from
still
him. So
see we're still living on the 1800.
The
We're
old
still
Constitution
living,
is. Let me tell
ma'am.
y'all something. I would say the old constitutions, but let me tell you something this man used to do when he was in office, right? They're not supposed to be able to make financial gain while they're sitting in that seat, right? So what this man would do, he switched to business in his kid's name, but he would still get the money. He would take, oh Lord, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on, guys.
We hear
Oh,
you.
can y'all still hear me? I don't know what happened. Okay, so what he would do is when he was going somewhere to stay, he would only stay in his own hotels, right? When he
Mm-hmm.
as president goes to his hotel, he has an entourage of people, okay? He has the Secret Service team. Imagine the Secret Service team being 5 times bigger than what it is now as just being an ex-president, okay? He had his administration. He has everybody, right? They closed the hotel out. They marked the hotel prices up. It's already expensive to stay in a Trump hotel. He marked
Mm-hmm.
the prices up 3 times the amount, and everybody that traveled stayed in his hotel, and we paid for it 3 times the amount that a room would already be. Can y'all imagine that?
Well, I know he is not allowed to get no casino in Vegas.
I tell you what, if you want to know anything about him before you decide to vote for him, go get his niece's book and read that book that his niece wrote. And you tell me what
Yeah.
you think. You tell me. And she dropped it all because they took everything from her dad. Like, you read that book, you will have a whole different outlook. You will
And
have a
see,
whole
that's
different
another thing. That's another thing. They let him do anything that he wanna do, and they are allowing him to do it.
With them next weekend, but
I'm
I
not going
told
to say they let him do what he want to do, but he would challenge them with things that had never been done before. And
Right,
because
right.
it hadn't been done before, he would test the waters. They didn't know how to move. They did not know how to move.
That's why they
What
need young brains up there and get all them old people away from up there.
what Ms. Parker was about to speak on was NATO. So for you all who don't know what NATO is, it's for all the countries who support one another. They come together, they make it happen. They protect one another, they
Mhm.
plan, they do all. This man became the president of these great states of the United States of America. Okay. He went to NATO and was over there like I'm doing what here now? Like, he turned into doofus. I crap your platinum bracelets is in the chat.
Cause
Text in the chat, platinum, and tell them if I'm lying or not. He had his wife at NATO talking about, well, she speaks 7 different languages. I think she'll be good here. Because he had not a clue what was going on. He
not
did
at
not
all.
have a clue. Okay. But Biden is supposed to be so slow and doofus. He did quite well this past week at NATO.
She said, and the queen didn't even want to shake his hand.
The queen didn't even want to meet him. She didn't want to deal with that man.
I remember that, baby, because I was like, this lady don't want no bothers with him.
None whatsoever. But that mess he did yesterday with that fight. And listen, they have protocol to follow in the Secret Service. This tells you how defiant he is. Because in that protocol, when they hover over you, he's supposed to keep his head down. Because let's say it was a real sniper out there, that it was real. You popping your head up, that sniper gonna get you. He
And I
had
don't know
his head.
what that gun was. Pow, pow, because AK don't sound like that.
That was that plastic round, that teleprompter.
I'm telling you, because that showed that, maybe an AK, you would hear it coming.
Look it up. I couldn't show y'all. The bullet alone is
It's
5 inches.
Yep,
That means it's about this. Look, about this long. Look
and
it up
got a
for you.
little point. As a matter of fact, I might got one in there in the room.
It is huge. Just the bullet alone is bigger than your ear before it opens up. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Matter of fact, I'm finna go ask my husband, do he have one in?
Yeah.
I know he do. I know I got
Mm.
some shotgun shells.
It disturbed me how that woman Secret Service person, she was a woman. Once they got him in the car, she was fumbling to get her weapon back in the holster. Like, you become one with your weapon in your holster. Like, you're supposed to be able to put your hand on that thing at the drop of a dime and put it back the same way. She kind of fumbled with that thing, getting it back in. I was like, that don't look right. It was just I pay attention to small details, and that was those things stood out to me. Those things stood out to me. But I'm just telling you, if you like Trump, you like him. I'm not trying to change nobody's mind about him. Because if you come to a point in a place at this time in your life that you think this is a good man and he's going to be best for the country, there's nothing that Miss White can say to change your mind. As a matter
Nothing
of fact,
nobody can say.
I'm not getting ready to try to change your mind, but I'll defend my president. I will defend him because is it signs of aging there? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit up here and act like it's not. But what I need for the people to understand it is, although there is signs of aging, He has an administration who understands the assignment. Okay.
Right.
And they are going to carry it through. They understand the assignment. Okay. And they are going to carry it through. Trump came into office, right? He gave Ben Carson a position in the White House. He gave, I'm drawing a blank, honey. What was that woman name that he put over education? Couldn't tell nobody how to spell their ABCs. He came and gave people positions that lined their pockets up during the time for raising fundraising. Y'all come on and make that make sense.
It don't make none.
Make it make sense. That's like going to the knee doctor to get your hand work done. Like, why wouldn't you put the appropriate people in place? I saw an interview that Dr. Fauci did yesterday, and he talked about how Donald J. Trump, middle name John, would go on national TV and belittle him and talk bad about him because he didn't like how the stuff was going for the COVID-19. Like, he didn't like that Fauci was getting out there telling the people the truth. Trump didn't want them to know the truth. Well, the truth remains that Trump knew about COVID long before the United States ever set up and told anybody anything about any of it. Okay? That's true. But he was upset with him. But I listened to Dr. Fauci talk about how he would call him on the phone and say, "We still good, right? We good. We still good." I said, "You just got on TV talking crap about me and belittling me to no end." Make it make sense, guys. Come on, y'all. We smarter than this. And if we ain't, we need to get smarter.
I know that's right.
We have to do better. And we so caught up on this presidency not to understand. Let's take the initiative to be accountable for what happens in our own front yard. Like, know who your local elected officials is. This attorney was up on this panel for y'all that haven't been in here that long, and he spoke on being elected, that he has trouble because most people don't even know that the judges are elected.
Right.
He's trying to, I can imagine him trying to plead his case and, tell the people why they should vote for me. And they're saying, "Oh, we got to vote for that. We got to vote for that." And I want to do a panel. I think this is the first part because there's a lot of things we don't know, and go from A to Z in the alphabet and talk about how our small elections help us.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't know the purpose of small elections. They don't even show up. 12 million people is a lot. That's a big difference from primary elections to generals and all the way to presidents. Like, that's a big difference, guys.
It's them ones that you don't really feel like going out to vote, but you need to go out and vote.
Right.
Anyway. And y'all see the lines be long. When you get in there, it's not going to take long. People don't know that by not voting is what makes the lines long at the poll. You got to say in that. You have a say in it. They be like, "My vote don't count." Your vote counts where it needs to count, y'all. And I ain't talking about the presidency. Listen, the electoral votes is what gets our president into office.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the electoral. It ain't got nothing to do with how many people wait in line. Come on, y'all. Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it
Speak,
up.
Miss White. Speak.
I promise you. Look it up. Then you got.
It was. You know
president
what?
Can
Today,
want to walk.
Yeah.
But you got that Senate with 100 people up there. They got more power than the House. But you got to take that stuff to the Senate and the House. And when honey, I remember when President Obama was president, Lord have mercy, Mitch McConnell wouldn't put nothing on the table. It was almost like Mitch said, "They got this nigga up in here, but I tell you what, I won't put nothing up for a vote. He won't get nothing from me." And he did not move. I don't know if y'all know who Mitch McConnell is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
But we need to put ourselves in a position where we can make sure Hakeem Jeffries be the speaker, that he's the speaker of the house, and that they take position and make things happen where they need to happen at. Look up Hakeem Jeffries and start learning about him. He led Trump's impeachment. Do anybody know why Trump got impeached twice and didn't leave the White House? Do anybody know why? I'll tell you why. Because
The votes wasn't there for him to leave.
the Senate was being controlled by the Republicans. They
Right.
said,
Yeah.
yeah, you can
They
impeach him
had
all
the
you want to,
control.
but we ain't gonna vote for him to go out.
Right. They had the control.
And let's say it now. Same thing happened when Clinton was in there. They impeached Clinton, but guess what? The Democrats was in control.
And so, right. So the Democrats wasn't letting him out.
They
Right.
didn't put him out. Same thing happened with Trump. That's why you got to make sure you get it in the right place, the right people at the right time for the right place for the right purpose, so you can make things happen for you when they need to.
Right.
When you need to. I was talking earlier. I have a friend. I don't know. I'm gonna repeat it because I don't know how many of y'all were not in here. I have a very close friend. She does not. She used to be a grant writer, but now she's not. She sits on a board, and they pick and decide who's gonna get federal grants. Right? You got somebody out here that writes the grant for you. You make your proposals and out there, and she sits on this committee who decides whether your grant is gonna get put through.
You like Dr. Pepper, right?
We got people out here worried about a stimulus check, not knowing that it is funds out here for you not to never have to worry about a stimulus check again. Okay, well, you can get that business up off the ground and make your dreams come true. And baby, when the Republicans are in office, they use everything available to them. Drip it dry, leave it in a deficit. Do you know why? Because they know what's available to them. When the Democrats are in office, it don't happen. Because we don't know what's available to us. And it don't.
I want to ask you a question, Ms. White.
Yes, ma'am.
My goal is to open up a homeless shelter in my town. I found the building and everything. I'm trying to get my money right. And what I'm trying to do is, like, when they come in the shelter, they're gonna be tested for everything. They're gonna be tested, and I'm gonna have an employee, the workforce down there to go over application, make sure they get the IDs and everything in order for them to stay in there. 'Cause if they don't get that, then they're not allowed to stay. Because it's so many people out here that their families are getting money and just got them out here on the streets.
We'll talk about it, but I just want you to do your research into homelessness and find out and understand first why a lot of people are even homeless. I'm not trying to discourage you at all. I just want you to make sure that you've done all your research so you will know what you're up against, because it's a lot more to it than somebody's just taking their check. Not for everybody, because everybody's shoes don't fit the same shoe. Do your research. Understand homelessness a little bit better, because a lot of times people just see somebody out there and they say, oh, they're homeless, but it's a lot of levels to homelessness. So do your research on that part and then go from there. Start going to homeless shelters, donating your time. If you have extra money, give what you can. Don't go out of your way, but I do suggest, you tie with your time. Give some of your time so you can see a little more of the ins and the outs of it. Because sometimes
I be late on questions. Somebody just had a question, Angel. Hello, everyone. I just got here. My husband and I were just talking about this. Do y'all remember the so-called attempt in 2016?
The attempt? I didn't catch that.
In 2016.
The attempt? What did you say? I didn't catch. Do we remember the attempt?
Attempt
in 2000. I don't remember I know 211, 209. I don't remember anything
It's right there.
in 216. I don't remember it. I don't remember anything in 216.
Mm,
No, you
I,
you have to educate us on that one.
are she saying an attempt on some on a president? Is that what she's saying?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember
Oh,
that in 216. Not 216. I don't remember that in 216. 216 was Obama, wasn't it?
it was a trading year. It was a conversion year. Let's see. I don't know.
Because I just get tired and it's like, you know, my heart goes out to them because like when I was working at the stadium at night and
Mm-hmm.
all that food they be wanting to throw away, I used to put it in bags and it be already wrapped up. I used to put them in bags and go down there and give it away up under the bridge and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got some states that's telling you you going to jail if you feed them.
Can't do it. But see, and let me tell you what it is about that. They're trying to discourage them from hanging around for one. Then you have situations where I'm not saying you are, but let's say somebody house is not that clean or the food been sitting too long and they become sick, then it's a liability. So they try to keep things like that from happening. So it's a lot of ins and outs to it. It's a lot of ins and outs to it. And let me tell you something, Miss Debbie, that I found out. We go out and feed the homeless. You got some homeless people that'll talk junk to you and they want you to feed them like they in a 5-star restaurant. Because we did it so long that they become accustomed to that. And they feel entitled, baby. You be like, tell you off, cuss you out, want to fight you, everything. Planet
Oh, I
Versus
gotta
said
know.
it. He was low key pimping Melania out. Remember, she was a lady of the night porn star. Read my comment on the bullets. What she say about the bullets? Yeah, he did say that though. Let me go back. Oh, she's saying a lot. We missing that, Tangela.
I got another person said a lot right here too.
That's what I'm talking about. Secret Service covers him and allows him to be exposed. His head, in particular, was a target for a second shooter. Joy Reid rattled them by exposing January 2025. On Monday, Crooks was a Republican.
Let me just
And
let y'all know, Joy Reid, all of her training come from right here in Miami-Dade
oh,
County.
really? Oh, really?
Yes, in
Let
fact,
me
the
tell you,
same radio station that I'm a part of, that I have a show on, that's where she started, on that
I did
same
not
station.
know that. But things were not looking good for Trump these past couple of days. I don't know if Tay is still in here, but yes, the 2025 plan got exposed. He said, it ain't my plan, ain't got nothing to do with that. Where it come from? I don't even know who wrote it. Oh, really, Trump? But he never spoke on it until it got exposed, okay? All of a sudden, the next day after that, what happened, Tangela? Him and Biden was even in the polls. Ain't been even since
Him and Biden we haven't had an even layout since the beginning. I've been nervous. This is the only race I had said I may not make it, but it was even the day before.
now the polls don't win the presidency. We all know that. If you know
Right,
politics, you know the polls don't win it. But it was moving, y'all. It was
right.
moving.
Our numbers had come up.
And if I can't say that the man didn't come up with a strategic plan to try to shift some stuff out of order. Because I was listening on CNN today, last minute, Trump changed the plan because it was somebody else that was supposed to come up. He told the man, wait, I'll let you come up in a little bit. Have you heard that, Tangela?
Oh.
I watched it. I watched it today. Sure enough, all of a sudden there was a change in plans. Make that make sense.
I gotta hit
Hmm.
these grounds tomorrow. I gotta hit the grounds. I got to hit these. I mean, I've been organizing and strategizing and doing calendars for my local, but we
Jazzy
always
Ransom,
run into problems with the presidential election because of that goddamn party, man.
yeah, it's and Tangela, you're so right. They hit the pavement running when it's time for the presidency, and then these other elections. Like, where are you then? Like, their faces are not seen anymore, and we gotta do better. But because we don't do better, we got to educate.
And
Right? We got.
candidates gotta quit running and going back in. You know,
Mhm.
you as a candidate, I do it with my candidates. I make sure they educate the people so that can remain an engagement after the election.
Yeah,
You know what?
that's it.
When election time come, my candidates don't even have to go to church. I be done did prep breakfasts and meetings and quarterly updates, and so when the election comes, they don't even have to go to church because
A
they
lot of
all.
them don't like to go to the
But
churches anymore. Was that you that said that they don't? But like you said, ever
it
since
don't
COVID,
even
they're
matter.
really not in
So
there.
I'm
But
looking at
even
numbers. The numbers
yeah,
not there like that no more. The
even
numbers
before
are not
that,
there.
yeah, with church and state, like that kind of turned a lot of people, the
Numbers
other
are
way. And
not
the other
there. But not only are the numbers not there, we don't do what our parents did. Our
we don't.
parents, they were more united. Remember, they went through all that stuff together. The black water fountains, the white water fountains, and they struggled together. But we didn't experience a lot of those things, and because we didn't, things changed. And today, pastors can't tell people who to vote for.
I want to read two more
I mean,
comments. Jazzy
my
Red
they
said,
mad at me because I say that, but the truth is the truth. Hell, you got hundreds of people don't even go to church.
that's true. I want to read two comments, Tangela. Jazzy Red said, Miss White, you are right. I was just talking about this today. People need to review Project 25. We will be serious. She's trying to say we will be in serious trouble. Like they were gonna sneak it right in under our noses, right? Like you won't even gonna know what hit you. And then Platinum Bracelet said Trump was so defiant with Secret Service. They were trying to cover him, but he's 6'3", towering over them. They literally had to push him in the truck. All he wanted to do was incite his patriots. That's it.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. He gets a kick out of seeing the people rise for him. Like it excites him.
Yeah,
He do. He do.
crazy, crazy.
She said that's what one of my companies do is provide resources and information to our community, such as grants available, federal funding available, home ownership, and low credit ratings, etc. That's what I'm talking about, Platinum Braces. That's why we won't even go to a community meeting to see what's out there for us. Like we don't go. Take 2 hours of your time to secure your future.
Right.
I mean, at tops. If you can't stay the whole meeting, then go. But get the pamphlets and all that stuff that's gonna be there. Y'all, it's a lot in those community meetings.
Hey D
You,
Ham, I didn't see you in here. Hey big bro.
hey, DM, listen.
Hey, Ham.
If you live in an area, and let's
Hey
say,
my legend, I saw you in here earlier, but I was talking. I'm sorry. Hey babe.
you want a Starbucks, you see empty buildings. You call your commissioner or your precinct leader, and you be like, "Hey, what they doing this building over here?" When you want to know something, why is this building empty? Or what are they building over here? You can also call them for that because they already know. You ain't got to sit around in anticipation waiting to see what's going up next because they even know everything being zoned around you.
Right.
And these are the simple things that we don't know, guys. Little simple things. Little simple things. And they don't do as well as they used to do with it because we don't even know they're supposed to be doing it, so therefore they don't do it. And
Right.
yeah, I say a lot that sometimes the best help we can get is the help we don't know we need.
Right. Right. That's true. That is very true.
The best help, sometimes the help we don't know we need. I say that about people's life and as well as mental health. Yeah. Well, it's 10 o'clock, Tangela. I'm gonna have to go get my little people
Okay.
just rattling around like
Great conversation. I enjoyed communicating
absolutely.
with you all. And of
On
course,
this
we will all be back again throughout this election season.
coming Wednesday on Chat and Chew, it was asked for us. They posed about this 300, what was it, $300 million that came up for the immigrants to be taken care of in Chicago. And they want to know, like, how did this money come up all of a sudden, but they don't have money to take care of the homeless that they already have. Auntie Debbie, that was kind of
So
befitting.
see, that's really something that Trump have been fighting. And so when I say some things, it can be a little iffy because that's what Trump continues to say.
Oh,
And you may agree with the majority of what people say, but it doesn't always mean that you disagree with every single thing.
yeah, every
And
single thing.
that's the problem I keep telling y'all we have in Miami. Well, when they say immigrants, I don't know if it breaks down in Chicago, but it breaks down in Florida.
Well,
If it's Cubans, those that don't look like if it's Cubans, they're
but,
able to come in, they get a loan, they get a place to stay, they get medical assistance, everything. But if it's a Haitian that look like me, they send them back to Haiti.
and that's what we're gonna talk about Wednesday. Like, how does this money come about? Where does voting take place in this? Like, how does it all mesh together? And I think until it's time for election, we need to find a way to get these lives in to educate our people so they can see,
It'll be
hear,
great. It'd be
and
good if
understand
all
better.
these people that's fighting this stuff on these sectors start encouraging people to go out and vote. I mean, that will be wonderful. Encourage people
So our
to go
job,
out and vote.
Tangela,
But
will be
listen, what them people don't know, Congress already was talking about taking away TikTok. You all that
boy,
don't understand politics don't know that they
they
could
don't.
drop Facebook, they could drop TikTok, they could drop Instagram, they could drop all that tomorrow. This is not a career where when you get 70 or 80 years old, you have something to live off. So I agree with who that was. I heard it could have been Darius Cook when he said social media is one thing, but get you a livelihood.
That's right.
That was
And
him. That was
Tangela, we
him.
talked this morning that once you know something, guys, you're held accountable. Like, God don't hold you accountable when you don't know, but once you learn, it's expected of you. And Tangela and I talked this morning, like, we have an oath, like a charge to keep, because I don't want to just encourage you guys to vote, but I want to teach you what you're voting for,
Right.
uh, why you're voting, and what
Right.
you're voting for, because it's much bigger than the presidency. This is your opportunity to become selfish because you learn how is it going to help me? Because we always say, my vote don't count, my vote don't count. Well, baby, your vote do count. And every time you don't vote, you just gave somebody else a vote. So
Right.
that's what we want to do, like teach you what voting is about. What are you voting for? How is it going to help you? What do I gain from it? What do I lose from it? Because you got to know with everything you gain, you're going to lose something as well. And
Exactly.
so that's what
Miss
I would like to do.
Miss Sandra, how do
Yes.
you do canvases?
Canvases is going around in the areas, knocking on doors, making sure that people know it's election time. And if they need transportation to voting, you could take them to the poll. You just cannot tell them who to vote for. You can't encourage them because you go to jail.
Yeah.
But that's a
Also,
part of canvassing.
I don't know if they have it in your state, but here you can donate your time. Like, you can make phone calls and ask people, are they going to vote? Have they made the
Well,
decision?
I have like, okay, so right now I do have like three campaigns right now that I do have phone banks to. And so
Okay, so
you're
y'all do
right.
the phone
She's
banks.
right.
Okay.
So what happens is when my candidate become approved that she's eligible to be a candidate, one of the first things we do is we buy every voter's information. And as we buy the voters' information, there's a phone bank crew we have, and that way we can use them to make calls to those voters. Like I say, when you're dealing with a campaign, it's a little different from being an advocate. I'm not an advocate as a consultant. As a consultant, I'm identifying those voters that I know that's going to go to the poll. That's the organization's job and other people's job to register them. After the election, I don't have a problem doing that. But right now, my job is to get my candidates elected.
Yeah. I used to do phone bank before I went into the actual polls. Like I used to do phone bank. And y'all listen, it's the one telemarketer that'll call you, and if you say remove my name, they will definitely remove your name. They will not keep calling you back to back. They'll if you're unsure, they'll ask you, can they call you back and do a follow up with you? But is it the same way in your state, Tangela?
Yeah, they'll call you back. I mean, and they'll ask you if you want to do any volunteering. I mean, and I pay. I so as a consultant, I am paid to pay these people to do
Yeah.
canvassing, to go door to door, to do phone banking and things like that. Because what we've been doing, I know elections are just cranking up for the community, but for a year we've been doing phone banking. We've been doing different things. We've been creating strategies so that we can win. I'll be honest with you all. I am only I have a tough chef race. Um, but I'm only really worried about my presidential race. And some people can say, "Oh no, don't be worried about it. Oh, God gonna do this." Listen,
You better worry.
God gave me common sense, and I know how
And
to count.
he's made it known, y'all. He wants retribution. He
Yeah,
wants retribution. He wants to pardon himself. And he wants to pardon all the other people who got charged since he's been out of office behind the jail. He's not ashamed to say it. He tells you exactly why he wants in the office. If you listen, you'll hear it. If you listen, you'll hear it. He wants
I don't heard it.
retribution. He wants
I
to make
don't
people.
heard it. I'm trying to get him up out of there.
hmm Yeah, yeah. I'm willing to send a link to whoever wants to read his niece's book. I'll send you an Amazon link so you can read the book. Shoot, in today's world, while you're riding in your car at work, you can put it in your earpiece and they'll read it to you. It's a good read if you're concerned about your future. Not just your future, but your children's future, because it takes 4 years to mess up something, and it takes two presidencies after to get it back straight, or even halfway straight. Yes or no, Miss Angela?
you're right.
I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
get these Republicans away from down in here in South Carolina.
But baby, good luck, cause North and South Carolina, and I mean, even though we got a Democratic governor, our house is still controlled by them. So, but he makes a lot of things happen for us. North and South Carolina used to be kind of lined up as one. Y'all know back to what 1712, there used to be one state. It was just called Carolina. Yeah, I'm a history buff. I like history stuff, so I'm gonna shut up because I'll be talking about something else altogether. But my little girl sitting up here in my face. I gotta get them wind down. I cannot wait till we talk about this again on Wednesday, because the thing with the immigrant
What
ties
time?
back
What
to
time? What
politics.
time on Wednesday?
Six, six on Wednesday.
Okay.
Um, New York was hit, as well as Chicago. because what those governors did down there in Texas and Florida and all them, they bust these people, they bust these immigrants to Chicago, and they bust them to New York. And they said, oh, since you like them so much, you take care of them. And they dumped all these people on I think Blueberry Boots is in New York. Have you seen the difference? How has it affected you? So we're starting to hear people talk about it because it's an evident situation now. I don't want to say a problem,
They
but it's an
talking about it real bad in
Mhm.
Chicago. Them people
Chicago,
are angry.
New York as well. But see, New York people adapt. Well, I'm not going to say Chicago don't adapt either, but Chicago is saying more, but it's happening in both states. I watched on the news as the buses drove up. I watched it on the news. Mr. Eric down there in New York, he all right, y'all, come on. You know how one of your family members come to your house and they ain't got nowhere to go, and you really don't want them there, but they come anyway because it's your family. That's kind of how the Eric was. Yeah, y'all, come on. But they would not stop. Like they kept sending them, kept sending them, kept sending them, kept sending them. And now it's a crisis. So that's what we're gonna talk about and show y'all how it ties into voting.
Oh, those
And the
not even. That's not even Mexicans. Them Arabs that's
all kind
coming
of
over here from Ukraine.
and them Haitians, baby, them Haitians, them Haitians be mean.
Hmm.
Hmm. But I cannot wait to talk about it. Blueberry said yes, so she sees it, and she's in New York. New York got their tail toe up with them people coming up in there. Mm, mm, mm,
Wow.
mm. And it was the Republican governors who just said, I'm gonna send them down there. And I'm sure Eric wanted to turn that bus around and say, take them back, but they had them cameras on him and he couldn't say it. Like he had to take them in, put
Wow.
them on the spot.
Wow.
So we'll talk about that and discuss that and how it affects us. Um, as a whole, it affects everybody.
I'll
So
definitely be in there. What time you say?
6 o'clock,
Okay.
6 o'clock. Yeah. It's so much more to politics. And I know a lot of people don't talk politics. And a lot of people don't talk politics because they don't understand politics. Like people won't cook seafood because they don't know how to cook it. You know? Um, and you don't have to talk it, but just empower yourself a little bit more so you can understand better. That's all. That's all. It took me.
Hey, Blueberry Boots, how you doing?
My baby, my baby was 6 years old. And my TV in my room stay on CNN. I got a small TV right here in front of me in my den. But I keep a TV on. One of my TVs is gonna be on CNN, period. Right. And I'll go to Fox News because you gotta know Fox News is more partial to the Republican Party. CNN is more partial to the Democratic Party. A lot of people don't understand what news you watch is what you're gonna hear.
Yep.
Okay. Because these news stations and newspapers, they endorse a candidate. For y'all who don't know that, they'll endorse a certain candidate and they kind of lean, to the left or the right. Well, listen, when my baby was 6 years old, honey, she could tell you who Nancy Pelosi was. She could tell you who Mitch McConnell was, all the heavy hitters. And I was teaching her at an early age. I love me some Nancy Pelosi, y'all. I love that lady. Couldn't nobody count like her. If Platinum's still in here, she know what I'm talking about. That's a counting woman. But Hakeem Jeffries is taking her place. He has took over her him in the Democratic Party. And I'm proud. I'm proud. He will be the first African American leader that has the majority if we keep him in that, if we do what we're supposed to do with the Democrats. We gotta do it. Y'all, we gotta do it. Because let's say if Trump do win, we need the Senate to be ran by the Democrats. Even if you don't care who the president is. If Trump win, do we not, Miss Tangela?
Yes, we
We
do.
need that Senate. It would be a
Yeah.
blessing to have the Senate and the House ran. But if
Yes.
nothing else, we need that Senate, baby.
Yes,
Yep.
we do.
We need it. We need it like a fat kid need cake. We need it, y'all.
Yeah,
because
we
that
do.
presidency can go any kind of way, especially after this mess they did last night. But
Yeah,
we
Well, I
need
think
Hakeem.
everybody, if everybody look at that video about 4 or 5 times and pause it at different form of it, they'll see that was a straight scammer. And then on top of that, that AK bullet is gonna show off fire.
They gonna get every round of ammunition. But see, the thing is, well, I'm a hush. I'm a hush.
Why? I want to know, Miss White. Don't hush now.
Miss Roz, there are programs out there for felons. As a matter of fact, felons can get a whole lot more help than what people know.
I told them the other night, Biden's giving felons so much money, felons organizations. They got money like they've never had before. We have an ex-convict program here, and they not only got funds from all over leadership throughout the nation, but they also received the building as well, where they're training other young kids now.
If you have been out of trouble for X amount of years, I want to say 8. I'm gonna look it up to make sure. If you've been out of trouble a certain amount of years, you've kept your nose clean, and you ain't been in no trouble, baby, you can get that out. You got to have some people to write you some recommendation letters. But reach out to me on my
Or you do
Instagram.
with your commissioner. Your commissioner have discretional
Yeah.
funds.
Reach out to me.
Discretional funds, they can do what they want to do with discretional funds.
That's right. Reach out to me on my Instagram, and we'll talk about it. I'll tell you what I know and who I've seen have it done. And get that thing off of there, girl. Walk in your new.
Oh, y'all, I forgot to tell y'all today at work I met Carl Malone.
Did you?
Yeah, and he gave me $100 tip today.
That was nice.
Yeah, he handsome too. You know, he
He's a
used to be
cute.
ugly, but now he is handsome.
The age done caught up with him. Everything that evened out.
Yes, I'm talking about he is handsome because I
You
didn't
say
know
you
who he
were in
was at first.
Sumter,
Because
right?
they the Peach Jam down here,
What you say? You in Sumter?
South Carolina. No, I'm in North Augusta,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and they having the Peach Jam down here for 2 weeks.
Sister, you in the
LeBron,
chat? Can somebody please put my Instagram? I don't know how to it's not on my computer, so I don't know how to copy and paste it to put it up there. But if
I don't
y'all would,
know.
I think um
let me see if
I
I can
think
grab it.
Good
chosen in there.
morning. Good
What
morning.
state?
Been putting it in there. She been
What,
putting some in there.
what state are you in, Roz? Look at that. She won't shame to say it or not, honey. That's the kind of people I don't mind helping.
What she say?
She says, so how can y'all help felons? I'm a felon that wants to expunge my record.
Miss Ross, I'm gonna tell you what I did. I waited mines out.
You did?
And once I waited it out, they do 10-year background checks. It's
Is it
been
10
20
years?
years. Yeah, it's 10-year background check. It's according
I thought it
now
was
if it's
8.
federal, if it's federal or something like that, they do 10. But if it's a regular, they do 5. Like, and with the felonies, now I'm able to work in my nursing field. Because it's not coming up now.
I want to read Platinum's comment. She said, we need to make sure Hakeem gets that speakership. If they retain the Senate, we're in trouble. You see how they bamboozled the country with those Supreme Court judgeships? They called their chips in, and baby, he knew what he was doing. He packed that dang on judge seat with them people, and when he needed them the most, that's who we went to. Now, we got the opportunity to add more seats to it, but Biden don't want to do that because, see, y'all, what'll happen is they'll keep playing this cat and mouse game. Every time a Republican come in, they'll add more. Democrat come, they'll add more, and then it'll be a problem. So he
I
trying to
did
play it.
I will ask him bootleg question.
She put my Instagram in the chat. Thank you, sis. I was getting ready. I thought you were gone. I was looking for it.
It took me 10 years to get it off. It still come up on my background if I
Mm-hmm.
do an extensive background check, and if they're looking for that, and if they go back that far. But 9 out of 10, a job don't go back, but 10 years is the most.
Who's the wash up rapper? Tay, who the wash up rapper?
Huh?
I see.
Oh, she
Platinum Rich.
talking that cheese.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, let me tell you something. These politics will run you crazy. If you don't know what you're talking about and you get up in there and you get upset, you got to learn how to keep a cool head. Um, it can be just like talking about the Bible,
Yeah,
because even in the Bible, everybody interpret the scripture differently. Depending on what you're going through in your life, is how you gonna
it's gonna take it.
get
Yep.
that scripture. I can read the same scripture 10 times, and depending on what I'm going through, I'm gonna get a different interpretation from it every time. And politics are the same. If you've been losing your job over and over and over and your money ain't right, you're gonna feel this certain kind of way about the political piece of it. You know what I'm saying? Miss Tangela got a gut wrenching decision she had to make with her son, so that's where her stance came from. But then I learned today she been in service all her life. Y'all got to
All
think
my
about it.
life. All my life.
She been in service all her life. She know my friend, y'all. She know my friend. Well, he not my. We grew up together, being Crump, and she knows him. Like, she get to see him more than me. The now famous attorney that steps up for people when the police do them wrong, and Ben used to take up for me when I was a little girl. I used to get picked on and teased, and Ben would walk me home and tell them to leave me alone. So he been sticking up for people a long time, y'all. But I think his agendas are different now. But me and Miss Tangela found out some stuff today, and that's my girl. That's my girl. hmm And we gonna do this thing, Miss Tangela.
Yes,
You
we
down?
are.
You
I'm
down?
down. I'm ready. Let's roll.
Yeah, we got to. I think the only thing we can do at this point is just educate, educate
That's all we can do. That's all we can
instead of
Y'all
do.
got
telling
to
them
help.
what to
I
do.
want to be in it down with
And
it because I'm gonna be learning as y'all go.
Yeah, and
I
instead of telling them what to do.
know, because I know Boo Love. I see some of them on
Mhm.
on this live. I just want to let them
Okay.
know that election. Wait a minute. I know I got it.
I'm excited. Like, I'm excited. I was sharing the other day, Miss Tangela, that I like to help people. Like, I'm that's my calling.
It's your
I'm a
passion. Yeah.
servant's
Same
heart.
here. Same
Mhm.
with me. But I want to let those in Miami know July 22nd. It's not too far from here. That's maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, if most. That is the last day you can register to vote in Florida. Now everyone have to check their own states because every state have different dates. So I don't want to say that's the date for the nation. No, that's for Florida. Anybody live in the state of Florida, that means from Key West all the way to Tallahassee. The 22nd is the last day you can register to vote. If you do not register to vote, by then you will not be able to vote. If you're an ex-convict and you're in Florida, you know we've already passed legislation that give you an opportunity to vote, but you
Yeah,
have to register.
They are strict on y'all. Good God Almighty. Because
man,
here,
Florida,
as long as
Florida
you're
the
in early
biggest.
voting, if you're going through early voting, you can vote the same day. Now, if you register to vote through the mail or online or anything like that, you got 25 days before election. like the month before. Yeah, but she said she got a misdemeanor. Misdemeanors don't really stop you from doing a lot. I think it's just those feelings. But we'll talk. She put my Instagram in the chat, and you inbox me, and we'll see what we can figure out. It's worth a try.
You see
It's
where that man in Maryland, he's just doing recreational marijuana, and he's about to let all them people out of prison.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't
on
seen that.
I don't know the marijuana charges.
Mm-hmm.
They're about to release them,
Oh, that's
and
good.
I mean for real, they need to legalize it everywhere for these guys can get out of here.
Legalizing for
Y'all know what? I'm gonna tell you something. How this go back to politics? Because as soon as they legalize it, they gonna tax it. It's gonna cost way more than what they would have. Just how moonshine used to be. Y'all know how moonshine was liquor,
Mm-hmm.
and why they legalized it because it used to be illegal. It used to be
Miss
illegal
White,
to have liquor.
I got some right now. I got some steel right now.
Did y'all know it used to be illegal that liquor was illegal? Can y'all imagine that?
They
That
should
it was
have left it there and left. They should have left it like that and used marijuana as the instead of the alcohol.
that there
Because
was a time you could not walk in the store and buy you a bottle.
mm-mm. And people had
Just
them steel
imagine.
plants in the back.
Then the government say, "Let me see how we can get our hands up on some of that there."
And they sure did. Got a hold to it.
the government
That's
ain't no
right.
joke. All I can tell you is the government ain't no joke.
Listen to what Platinum said.
Government
She said, "Ladies, we need to register as many people as possible who have completed prison sentences and probation. Once your fulfillment is completed, you can vote." And that's true. Do you know how many people did not know that they could vote as felons? They thought that because they were a felon that they could no longer vote. They thought it was over for them. But that's not true.
Miss Ross, where you trying to get a job at, babe? Because it shouldn't come up now.
I don't know if it's for a job or if she just won't.
I can
She
see the
might just
chat
want that
now, Miss
fulfillment.
I'm chosen.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll see what she. Yeah. Blueberry said we brought 3 gallons back. Oh yeah, because she was down south. Mm-hmm. But even before it was called moonshine, y'all, just liquor in general. Liquor in general. But the moonshine was good. But they call it rock good.
Nah, I can't do no
They
moon.
call
I
it
can't do no
steel.
moonshine. I can't touch no moonshine at
My
Hey.
dad
all.
make it.
That's like it's burning the whole insides of me.
No,
Now I
not
can't.
you
I don't.
said
I
that.
don't.
Yeah, that's a rock gut now.
Rock good. That's what they call him. My dad and them. Well, he don't make it now, but he used to make it. He used to make it.
My husband uncle passed away, and Lord behold, that man had over 100 bottles of moonshine.
Oh, man. Dang.
I
He would
got
get
rid
them.
of I
Yeah, I
got
grew up.
every, I didn't
You know,
think people drink it like that no more. But shoot, they rather have the moonshine more than the alcohol at the liquor store alcohol.
Not me. Mm-mm.
I don't drink at all. Maybe a month and a half ago, we was cooking on a Saturday, and I called myself pouring me a little bit of wine. Child, I probably took 4 sips of that thing. I was like, somebody take this. I used to drink, but I don't now. Yeah.
They say wine good for you.
They say
Red
red wine.
wine. Red
They say
wine
red
is
wine is good for the heart. That's what they say.
red wine
I like
is.
Stella Rose, and then
Mm. Say red wine good for that heartburn.
My mom used to drink red wine. That's the first thing. And then when I used to try to drink wine, y'all, I used to say they give it to us in church, Mama, every Sunday morning, not knowing it was grape juice.
So Platinum
Mhm.
said he
Now, this
was
is
low.
this is my body. This is my
Y'all
sympathy.
know
Yeah,
what? Y'all talked about something platinum. I just found it. I just put it up.
I got a knot coming under my eye.
Oh yeah, cause she used to be at the Playboy thing. She used to be at the Playboy house.
Oh, okay.
What they call it, the mail order bride, something they call them.
Hmm.
Nothing disgusts me more. I don't know what disgusts me more, his statement or hers. We ain't heard nothing from Melania, not a word. As a matter of fact, they just started asking this week where she at. Did y'all know
And
that?
then, and then, did you
Just
know that
He,
she said that
you
she was through with him? She was getting a divorce because he brought that child up in that campaign.
people need Miss White. You are so right. I
yeah,
was
they
just
just
talking about this today. People need to review Project 25. We will be serious in trouble.
yeah. They started asking this week where she was at. They wanted to know where Melania was at. And then she makes this statement talking about some monster tried to treat her husband like an inhuman political machine, that they was taking away their laughter, their fun, their joy, some crap. I was like, y'all remember she plagiarized and wrote Michelle Obama's speech?
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
remember that. I
I
remember that.
remember
That's
that.
sad. I don't think she can read English.
Trump was so defiant with Secret Service. They were trying to cover him, but he's 6'3", towering over them. They literally had to push him to the in the truck, and he wanted to do what was in sight is patriots. That's what he wanted to do. You
Hmm.
right, sis.
When they put his head down, it was supposed to stay down. He breaking protocol, doing that's because he knew he wasn't in no danger. Because if he knew he
Hmm.
was in real danger, he wouldn't. Honey, he'd been like a chicken.
Yeah, he would have been trying to
Man, he
run
would
out
have
of
been on that floor. He would
there.
have
Talking
Talking
been
about,
on
about,
that
oh, he
ground.
run.
listen, y'all heard what he said? Get my shoe. Get the hell with a shoe. I ain't think about no shoe. Y'all shooting at me. Forget a shoe. He
Who
talking about I
cares
need my
about a
shoe.
shoe at that point? Right.
Thank you. Good night, sissy. He talking about his shoe. If you don't get somewhere, you rich. Go get your 5 more pair of shoes. Why you worried about a shoe? Like,
Yeah.
miss me.
He
Mm-mm.
ain't have he ain't have no Miss Ross, you can't own your own business with a felony, baby. It's
Oh
according to
no,
what
you
kind
can't.
of business.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
There's a
No, you
lot of entrepreneurs out there that's ex-convicts.
yeah, you
She wanna own her own business. Yes, ma'am, you can do that with the felony. So what you
mm.
think all these Miami boys, what you think they look at Rick Ross, look at Trick Daddy.
Yeah, there's nothing that stops you from on. As a matter of fact, most felons do start their own business because they have trouble getting employment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what most of them do. Mm, 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 mm. Well, y'all, I'm gonna sign off.
Yeah,
Y'all
we're
continue
gonna get ready to let it go. I enjoyed you all tonight, and Wednesday you gonna do a
at
flyer or
6.
something. You gonna do something that you're gonna
Yes,
put up.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will.
Make sure I get it so that I can post
I
it
absolutely
because
will.
I have to
Yes.
be reminded too.
Hey, did
Oh,
you see Miss White, did you see bootleg? I mean blueberry boots.
I saw it.
She said
A
I
Yeah,
lot
beat
of
the
people
I
hell
seen
doing
out
that.
of
that.
some baby.
She was in here.
A lot of it
No,
is a little different because we sharing a live and I couldn't see and post the comments, but I was seeing because we sharing. The
I'll
first time I
say
did
that's
it,
what
it was
one of
cool.
my companies do is provide resources and information to our community, such as grants available, federal funding available, home ownership with low credit ratings. That's awesome.
that's who I'm trying to figure out who that was said that.
That was
Platinum.
yeah, that was platinum bracelets.
What state you in, Miss Platinum?
I don't know what state. Maybe she'll answer. Okay. The so-called attempt on Trump. You're right, Angie. I don't know what state she in, but I'll find out because she's normally up here, but she's in the hospital right now.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Yeah, she in the hospital right now. Okay, so we'll be on chat live
Tomorrow, I'm Wednesday, right?
on
Wednesday at 6.
Wednesday. Yeah, I'll be posting it on my page, so everybody can get to see it. All right, so y'all have a good night. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your week.
Everybody have a good night. We got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Love y'all. Talk
Oh,
to
you
y'all later.
always. I remember there was times you stayed on with us till 3 so you could go to work. Oh, I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you did it. But good night. Enjoy yourself. Have a great night.
Same to you, darling.
Okay, take care, sis.
All right.